Hey, I'm Nashi.
I'm Rezlar.
And I'm Frosty. Welcome back to the Value Pack.
Hold on, I have to gear check Nash right now. Alright, that is some bullshit. Dude, he CC'd me how to dance. What's happening? Rezlar!
People look at you like you're crazy, and they refuse to admit that it's pay to win, and just scream that it's pay to convenience! It's pay to convenience!
Big money, big money, big money,
Big
money!
money!
Oh shit, we got it! We fucking got it! And welcome everybody to another episode of the Value Pack. We have BDO on the screen today. I checked on Frosty's stream. He is in fact showing BDO on the screen. So Lost Ark is officially dead, I think is the conclusion that we can reach. Is that true, Frosty?
Yes, the player base is dwindling. They went from a peak of 1.3 mil to now only averaging a mil, and it's pretty shit. So,
Do they hold on? Have you checked recently? I'm actually curious.
Of course I
Lost
have, man.
Ark
I find it very
Steam
interesting.
charts.
They hover between 800,000 and like 1 mil around peak times, which I think is reasonable, right? Because obviously more people are going to try it than are going to play it.
Especially since Elden Ring also came out.
Plus Elden Ring came out.
Yeah,
Elden Ring is incredibly popular.
That's very true. Very, very true. Yeah, you're right. So it's currently sitting at 900,000 players essentially. And then all-time peak 1.3. So
I still look at this.
That's good.
The thing that blows me away about this every single time is that Counter-Strike is still that high.
You're right.
Dude, this morning Counter-Strike was at like 910,000 or something like that. It's just like, what is happening with Counter-Strike?
Who's playing Counter-Strike in 2022?
It's
Who are you?
I don't know. It blows my mind because it's kind of like, I don't know a single person that plays Counter-Strike in my life, online, anything.
I think, you know what's crazier to me than Counter-Strike, honestly, though? PUBG.
Yeah, PUBG has a lot of people.
Actually, who is playing PUBG right now?
Yeah.
That's so crazy to me.
More people than Apex and Destiny 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5 on Steam.
That's so crazy to me. That's ridiculous.
More
Jesus
people
Christ.
are still playing PUBG right now than Destiny 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5 combined.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like, why? Just why? That's so strange. My God. All right, where are we? Oh, intro. That's right. That's what we're doing. Kind of a long show today. It looks like, anyway, judging from the list of things we got to get to. A lot of BDO stuff, some Lost Ark things as well. But obviously, before we get to any of that, we got to thank our patrons: Garmoth.com, Hawaiian, Jeremy Johnson, Melt on Your Mouth, Manaria, Slidetech, Talisek, Septum, Thanks, and Wavesy. Appreciate you guys. Everybody else who supports us on Patreon and on our Twitch channels, which you can find in the description down below. Okay, BDO news first. Winter Region has been announced, kind of. They don't have they haven't exactly said, right? They just said that it's coming.
It's so weird. They said April 2022.
Yeah.
Which is so weird that they didn't put a date, because it's like, all it really tells me is that they actually don't know. They feel pretty confident the translations will be done in April. They just don't know when in April.
I need to. Why did you delete the Beastars?
Well, so I could see the list.
It
was just so I could see the list more clearly. That was all. Sorry. No one. Don't worry about Transformers Beast Wars. Okay, so April 2022, Winter Region. Is this too late? Is this acceptable? Are you all right with this? Is coming out 4 months after KR gets it a reasonable time frame, or should it be? What are your guys' feelings on that?
4 months after KR gets it. I mean, I think it's faster than any other region release, right? Or wait, how quickly did we get Odalita?
Odalita was still about 7-8 months.
Was it really?
Yeah,
so
because
I think this will be
they
the
got it in
fastest
March.
release, then.
I believe they got it at the beginning of March or end of February, and we had it in October.
Yeah. So I think obviously global release is how I think everybody wants it to be done, right? You release it in all regions at the same time because, like we've said before on the show, I think Frosty, you went on a big rant about it a couple months ago. the fact that other regions get it first and they get to like explore it and like find all the like cool things and just appreciate it, and then we get it months later almost like it's leftovers, it kind of sucks. That being said, they are getting it to us quicker than they have other regions that didn't have global releases also. So I don't know. It's fine, but also like, why can't we just do global releases, man?
Yeah. Ashley?
Yeah, basically same kind of thing. Like we already know everything as was mentioned in your chat. Like there's not really anything new now, even when we get into it. So that element of it kind of sucks. Like when I played when I'm playing Lost Ark, I didn't research basically anything other than what class I was interested in playing, and that was it. As far as the game is concerned, I didn't really research anything early on, and made it for very interesting run through experience. So that kind of element of it is going to be lost on us every time we are getting something like 4+ months out away from when it was released in KR. So I mean, there's going to be people out there that obviously they just want to burn through the content so they can get the best stuff and move on and do whatever the hell they want to do, and that's fine. But there's definitely a lot of players out there that would be interested in experiencing it for the first time without knowing anything about it. You could arguably say, well, then just don't look up anything. Just true, but your guildies and whatnot are obviously going to talk about some stuff, and sometimes it's unavoidable. You're going to find out info about it.
Yeah, I still think while it's super fast relative to what they've done in the past, I still find it completely unacceptable, to be honest. It tilts me. The excitement for Winter Region and everything we saw just kind of dies over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably the least hyped region, at least from my point of view, like how I see it. Like it doesn't. We've waited so long for a snow region and whatnot, and I'm not even like interested in it anymore.
Yeah, and it's for various reasons, right? But I think the most concerning thing is that I've heard, I don't know if this is absolutely true or not, but like Nashi said, you hear guildies talk about it and stuff. I've heard guildies say that Koreans aren't even going there anymore. Like they go there, they get the shit for the helmet, and then they go back to Orcs. So like that's really depressing. Like it's like, oh good, so it's more like useless grind spots that nobody's ever gonna go to. Neat. Like fuck, man.
Yeah, I mean that, although that's kind of I still am like, don't understand why Orcs won't get nerfed when it's literally like just so far and away the best spot in the game. Because I would imagine the winter regions, I don't know how good or bad they are, but I imagine it's fairly easy to get them to Secrea or a Star's End, or what Gyfen's going to be post nerf level, like somewhere around there. But like, I don't know. If it doesn't compete with Orcs, there's no point in being there, right? You just go there, get your helmet, and go home. That's more of like a balancing issue than like, oh, the content isn't fun necessarily. I maybe it will be cool. I do think some of the stuff in there is pretty unique. Maybe the rewards aren't good enough, and hopefully that changes and they nerf Orcs. But the thing is like, why when you don't release something like that long after is just I don't know, man. It just, everything about exploring it, things that are new, the optimal way to do it, like it's all like just decided for you already. It's like, I don't know, everything's already decided for you. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Someone is asking, I don't get the logic. Why nerf Orcs when you can slightly buff every other spot? I mean, that's exactly it, right? Because every other spot makes good money. I mean, I grind probably 10% of my time at Orcs, 90% of my time at Secrea, Star's End, or just various spots. And I mean, you can save up 100 bill in a month everywhere. So why do you have to do it in 20 days at Orcs? Like, it's so much easier to... Orcs can still be the best. It just doesn't need to be 40% better than everywhere else. And all the other spots are relatively balanced compared to each other. It's literally just Orcs is like an outlier. So it's a lot easier to bring Orcs down a little bit. And also, Orcs being a non-item generating part of the game is also detrimental in its own way.
To the economy, yeah.
It makes everything really expensive, and it also nerfs all the other grind spots. That's all I'm saying. It's not that I don't want Orcs to be good money. I still think it being the best is fine. But one of the problems I have, and I've seen Choice complain about this a lot too, and my friend Dalen and a bunch of other people, and Blonde Bear as well, Orcs has no like prerequisites. You just go there with very little gear, and you're making the best money in the game. And then you go to like Gyphon, where you could die, and now they're nerfing that. Or you go to Oluns, where it's like you got to set up a party, group up, and you have a chance to die and lose crystals. Is like all these places are worse than Orcs, but like relative to the other spots, they're all pretty good. So it's just like Orcs is this outlier that is just like unhealthy, and doesn't keep people spread out. And it's just, I don't know. It's also, I don't think that many people enjoy Orcs, partly because the atmosphere, partly because the lights, partly because the feeling of when you don't have a weapon, it just feels bad. I mean, there's like a lot of things. I think in small doses, people would love Orcs, but being forced to be there 100% of the time with that green, awful filter and just the amount of people that are waiting in line. Like, I go to a grind spot at Orcs. So 2 days ago, I ran over to Orcs. This is Lost Ark's out, Path of Exiles expansion's out. All these games are out, right? All these new games. Elden Ring's about to come out, and BDO is like in a content lull. And I go to Orcs, and there's fucking 5 people waiting at 1 and 2, and 4 people at rotation 12. Like, why? And they're all just like waiting for each other. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And then every other grind spot is like just completely empty and free. I don't know. So yeah, that's why. That's that logic. But back to the winter region stuff. Yeah, that part of it is more of like a balancing issue. The content, I don't know if it's fun or not. It looks pretty cool, but it also is like that spark is it's kind of gone. I don't know. It's a little bit gone for me because I've seen like all the grind spots. I've watched videos on the grind spots and like how it looks, how it works. So it does feel a little bit like I'm gonna get the winter region, go through the quest line, finish that in a couple hours.
After that.
Yeah, finish that in a couple hours, and then get my helmet, however long that takes, and then, I mean, why wouldn't I just go right back to Orcs, right? It's
True.
a little bit sad.
Very true.
But yeah,
It's just DOA, you know, it's dead content already. Like after you get all the stuff you need from it, you're done with it.
I have seen, like, I saw some other people in chat saying stuff like Final Fantasy 14 can do it, and they have like voiceovers, and like WoW has done it. And I know for a long time the excuse is like, well, BDO is this small game. This is like early days, small game, and this is their first time with publishers and all that. But it's like, dude, we are in our 6-year anniversary, not BDO's. We are in the NAEU 6-year anniversary right now, and Pearl Abyss has a huge staff, and they have a lot of money, and these things should all come out at the exact same time. Translating should be part of the development process for making these regions, so you can release it to everybody at the same time, and everyone is hyped and excited for it all at the same time. Just
you know
period.
why they don't do that.
No, I don't know why. Let's hear it.
Korea's the test round, man.
It doesn't. Fine. That's why they get stuff 1 week before us. But why do they have it 4 months before us? It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Indie company things, man. It's a low budget company.
That's true. So that's coming in April. I mean, it is like, I do want to play it and try it out, but it's just a little bit of that spark is gone. That should still be there. One March 2nd, Lightstones and Artifacts are coming out. That I actually am kind of excited for, because I'm really, really curious how people feel in terms of tankiness and not tankiness, because I do think a majority of players are going to be running the defensive stats. So I'm curious how that's going to feel. I also, as a PSA, save your Dark Rifts now. If you haven't already, start saving them up, because they can drop some of that stuff when it comes out on Wednesday. But yeah, I'm excited for the artifacts, just because I actually really like the idea of like going around different places in the world and collecting these items. Like I want a bunch of different sets. So that part is actually really cool. But I don't know. What about you guys? Are you guys feeling the artifacts?
I think it'll just add another layer that's, will just impact offensive, defensive builds. It's just, I don't think it's going to be anything super impactful overall. Like it's nothing like super exciting and hyped up. It's just kind of seemed like they just, I don't know, ran out of ideas and just said, screw it, we'll just add another thing in here.
So yeah, I think the Lightstones are well put together. I actually think they're pretty cool. I mean, I think it adds a level of customization that's pretty cool. I just think that they need a little bit more variety and to not make the certain ones so much worse. But there's so many variations, and the stats are pretty significant. So it'll be cool to see over time what ends up trending out. So I know at least in NA, maybe E is different. This server loves AP and accuracy, so it would be kind of. I want to see if people end up going full offensive versus defensive stats. Rez, are you excited for Lightstones or artifacts? Like catching Pokemon?
Not really.
Why not?
I don't know. It's another thing that I have to work on now.
But you get to work on it in a lot of different places. You don't have to go to the places you hate necessarily.
Yeah. Whatever. This is we'll get to more of this later whenever it's time for me to shit on BDO, but I really hate that I'm forced to do content I don't want to do content that I do want to do. It's really absurd.
Yeah. All right. So that's coming Tuesday. I mean, we know everything about it. That's coming Wednesday. We've seen Lightstones and artifacts. What does he want to do? I don't know. Maybe, do you want to get into it now?
We can if you want.
Yeah, get into it now. What is it about BDO? You how did you set up the premise?
Okay, so playing Lost Ark, right? And then comparing Lost Ark to BDO, I came to the realization of a couple different things. First of all, these two games, in how they are created, are almost the inverse of one another. And what I mean by that is that Lost Ark feels like a game that does almost nothing unique or new or like innovative or anything of the sort. However, almost everything in Lost Ark is very, very, very well done, well polished. Not everything. There's still some things here and there, but like it's just a really well made game. Even if it is kind of just KR Diablo clone, it's just really well made. It's really well thought out. They obviously put a lot of thought into how they want to design the systems and things of that nature. I don't know. But it doesn't do anything very, I don't know. Again, like I want to say like innovative and things of that nature. It's just very kind of like down the line, which is fine. There's not a problem with that necessarily. I think that's part of why it has such mainstream appeal, is because it is very like familiar. BDO is almost the exact opposite of that. BDO feels, I've said for years now, if you've listened to the podcast, I'm certain you've heard me say this before. BDO is the epitome of like really amazing ideas and then absolute dog shit implementation. and this is true almost every step of the way. The it has really good ideas, really good concepts. The combat in BDO is fantastic. Some of the dungeons and things of that nature. I don't know. It's just they do things really, really well in concept, but then whenever it comes time to implement it, they tend to fall short in a lot of areas, I think. So I don't know. They're kind of like the inverse of each other, and so to me, I got to see and compare the two in playing Lost Ark. And one of the things that started bugging me the most the more I played Lost Ark is that Lost Ark devs do not like PvP. They have pretty explicitly stated that this isn't really a PvP game. Which sucks for somebody who likes to PvP, because I'd like to be able to progress in some way making or doing PvP, obviously. But at the very least, what the Lost Ark devs didn't do is require you to do content you don't want to do content you do want to do. And that's exactly what BDO does. BDO says if you want to PvP in this game, you have to participate in content that you don't want to participate in. And to me, that is like the biggest misstep that I think you could possibly make in a video game, right? In Lost Ark, the PvP content is completely separated from literally everything else, and that's both good and bad. But I don't know. It's just it really sucks that all I want to do in BDO is Node War. That's really the only content that I care about. But in order to stay competitive in Node Wars, I have to go out there and grind hours and hours and hours to get relevant gear and shit.
All right, so
in Lost Ark, if I want to do a arena, I can just queue up. I log in, queue up, do an arena, have some fun, and then that's it. There's no, I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Let me give you some pushback from the chat. So
okay,
in BDO, they point out it's relatively, if you just want a PvP, it's relatively easy to just get to the caps in the game, Siege and Node War now, because they're so low. Being one, so you could address that in a sec. And two, in Lost Ark, all of them, I saw 5-6 people say, I don't want to quest or do dailies, but I have to gear up so I could do my dungeons and stuff. So it definitely forces you to do content you don't want to do in order to do content you do want to do.
That's a good point. See, I'm coming in as the perspective of a PvPer, right? So for me, I can queue up for arenas at any point. But if you're someone who likes raids and dungeons, then yeah, I would agree with you at that point. Then that sucks, right? And isn't that a shit feeling? Right? Let's find some common ground here. People that want to do dungeons and raids in Lost Ark. Isn't that a shit feeling that you have to spam G for 20 hours in order to do raids and shit? That's exactly how I feel doing PvP in BDO. And people are like, oh, well, it's easy to hit the caps in BDO. That's not the point. That doesn't address anything. The point is that I am forced to do content that I don't want to do in order to fucking that's like me saying oh, it's easy to press G through the questing in Lost Ark. Why are you complaining? It's so easy to just sit there and press G the whole time. It's silly. The point is that you shouldn't be forced to do content to participate in other content, whether that's PvP content in BDO or raids and shit in Lost Ark.
Is it fair to say that in Lost Ark's case, it's the quest line and whatnot is fairly long initially to hit 50 and whatnot? You can get it done. I think the fastest you can get it done realistically, if you just focus on the story quests, was it 12 hours, Frosty? Something like that, maybe?
To get through the main story?
Yeah,
or all of the story?
Just so you can get to the PvP. No, just to get to
to
the
get to PvP? If you want to be able
you
to
only
just
have to hit 26, I think.
Yeah,
right?
if you want a PvP, it takes about 90 minutes.
Okay, well
Yeah.
then yeah. So honestly, you could look at that and consider that like a tutorial. Like really, 90 minutes. It's not
Yeah.
very long. Comparatively to kind of go along with Rizlar's point, BDO. You kind of want to like if you want to open world PvP, you definitely need to have some gear and whatnots in order to compete, and that depends on who you're trying to compete with. There's just some players you're just not going to compete with. Period. If you just want to PvP in general, you can always do that in the the arena, the battle arena, which all you have to do is basically create an account, and then you can create a trial character, which then you're going to be at the quote unquote their iteration of soft cap, which is with the reworks and whatnot, the damage is decent. You ain't going to survive against higher geared players and like Red Battlefield, but at least in Battle Arena, there's fair number of players that are using trial characters, so you can enjoy the PvP in that regard. It just depends on what level of PvP and whatnot you're referring to. And then of course Frosty mentioned the cap PvP for like Siege and Node Wars and stuff like that. So there's various different forms that BDO originally didn't have that they have been trying to, kind of accommodate, I guess. So, but I would say it takes longer for BDO to get to a point where you can kind of do a lot of the content comparatively to Lost Ark.
So Choice points out that it sounds more like Rezlar wants something like Tekken, where you just log in, PvP, and log out, and that you're not really into MMOs, because that is at its core kind of the design of MMOs, like gear progression.
Yeah.
But
that's what it sounds like too.
No. What I'm saying is that if you are going to have content that people may want to do locked behind some sort of wall, right? So this is BDO. If you want to Node War, you have to basically unlock Node Wars by progressing your gear. Why is there not a way to unlock that content via that content? Right? So in Lost Ark, the PvP is isolated because it's all gear capped, right? It's all gear matched. That's what makes Lost Ark unique in comparison to BDO PvP, right? So in Lost Ark, you spam G for 60 to 90 minutes, and then you can PvP as much as you want, and there's no like grind for gear or anything like that. In Black Desert Online, you basically have to unlock the ability to PvP by gearing up. How do you unlock that? Do you spam G for 60 to 90 minutes? No. You have to go grind for hours upon hours upon hours on end at certain locations. You have to follow guides, all kinds of weird shit like that. And you can't do it via PvP, and that's the main annoyance for me.
Is there an MMO out there where you could just log in, start off PvPing to like get to like Node War type PvP?
I couldn't say. My experience with MMOs is fairly limited. I've played only 4 of them, so I'm not sure. I'm not the person to answer that question.
Yeah.
I mean, to Choice's point, it does. I mean, it's a PV. It's an MMO.
I mean, it sounds really.
There are aspects of it that you have to go through the progression cycle. It's just how it's designed. That's an MMO's.
But what? But
no, hold on. I think
I'm gonna fucking lose my shit.
I think at the end of the day, Rezlar kind of wants what a lot of people have been asking for. Like, we just want arenas, like gear capped arenas. As
gear
simple
capped
as that
arenas
is.
and or progression through PvP. Right? Because so Lost Ark kind of solves this problem by having gear matched arenas, right? Which that is a way to solve the problem. Your gear has no effect on PvP. So there's gear matched arenas, so you can PvP almost instantly because you don't have to progress to PvP. That's one way to solve the problem. Another way to solve the problem is just progressing through PvP, right? Why is PvP not allowed to progress? It makes no sense to me. It's just as valid of a content for a player base as spamming G, as life skilling, as running in circles for 20 hours. And it's infuriating that it's treated by Pearl Abyss as like this evil thing that we have to relegate only to like this one specific thing that doesn't make money. It's ridiculous. So one of those two things could be fine ways of solving the problem. I think they should implement both of them, but it's just infuriating.
Yeah.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, Russell. I'm just saying, like, the standard formula of what an MMO was is always about like your character development through story and stuff like that and progression.
No, and I
But yeah,
absolutely
I agree.
understand that.
I agree that PvP should be incentivized, you know, and allow for progressing you through the game. Trust me, I'm right there with you. I hate fucking going in circles. It's not my idea of a good time. Like looking at fucking you know, how much money I'm making, and I have to base it on how many hours I spend to the game. Now, given that's just how it is, you know, like it's what I've been dealing with. But you know, I'd be up for, you know, PvP being a way to, you know, progress through the game too. It's just like how do you do that in a fair way that doesn't like basically make the PvE side of thing, where people do enjoy that aspect, pointless.
That's never been a
or not
problem.
feel.
That's literally not once has that ever been a problem. Not once.
Well, I mean, I can give you an example where it could be a problem. For example, life skilling, whenever that's up on the up, it's the best way to make money. Grinding's not as necessary. Then you have less accessories and stuff like that on the marketplace to work with. Then grinding gets improved. Grinding's now better. Life skilling's completely shit. Needs an overhaul. Like you could do, that same kind of thing could end up happening if you.
Are you concerned about like the market then? Because there's a really easy way to solve that. You don't give people silver as rewards. You give people
so you just do the Shadow
like
Arena
accessories or
thing.
other mats. Yes, exactly. Like it's a really easy thing to fix.
Yeah. So yeah, they would have to end up doing something like that in order to make sure that it balances things out between silver and market.
And it's really the life skill update. Listen, I feel for the life skillers out there, right? Life skillers have been struggling for a while, but it's maddening to see that like now you can make, like Nyashi said before we started recording, 400 to 600 million silver an hour life skilling again, which is good for them. Meanwhile, RBF, you're still capped like what, max fucking 80 mil an hour, something like that.
If you're lucky,
Probably less.
Yeah, 60 mil an hour. Like, what in the Sam fucking hell are we doing? Like, why is that disparity so enormous? And that's the buffed rate. Let's not forget they buffed the amount of rewards, the amount of silver you get from RBF not long ago. That's the buffed that was our revamp. That was PvPers money revamp, just like this is Life Skillers revamp. They get 600 mil an hour, we get fucking 60.
They nearly doubled it.
What is going on? Like this is what is infuriating to me.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
I think the disconnect a little bit is I think the progressing through means that you want to do or don't want to do is technically kind of separate. I do agree that you should be able to gain money through PvP, and there should also just be some ranked arenas that are gear capped.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't know why there are. And there's always this pushback. I saw Scummy in chat was saying, well, the queues would be too long, or you'd be fighting the same people. And what was the other thing? I had one more thing that I wanted to.
You mean like how I fight the same people in almost every RBF that I do right now?
And then that it would be taken advantage. Players would abuse it to earn a quick fuck ton of money. The problem is in this game, because the way the open world like mob grind areas work, if you're going to exploit in some way, you can do it anywhere in the game and it would be incredibly efficient. So it's like it doesn't really matter. Like that's not a reason to not do it, is that it might be exploited, because then you got to remove the grind spots too, and you got to remove the life skill stuff, because all of those are exploitable. You definitely have to remove Siege. I mean, look at the way Siege works. It's like literally just an agreed handoff to this guild makes 3 bill this week. So you got to remove all that stuff. If your stance is, well, it could be exploited, so we shouldn't have it, because like all of that stuff is exploitable, in some way, like whether it's bots or whatever the fuck you think is going to be the exploit. The other thing is like the queues. There are games with no player base that have matchmaking, and yeah, if the queues are long, then fucking they need to do something to make their game more popular. But that doesn't mean we still shouldn't have the ranked arenas. There is a community out there, whether you personally want it or not, that wants to queue up in PvP. And they will queue up in PvP all of the time.
Yep.
They're just like, and even the whole, like, the same players in RBF, like, when RBF was new and people were super into it, when the Valencia one was, like, there was, like, so many people in there. You ran into tons of different people. Like, people like PvP in this game. So just give us an option to do it. That's all. I don't know. It's just, yeah, give us an option to do it and make it. I agree, Reslar, with the base premise. I don't necessarily agree that Lost Ark doesn't make you do that, because now I'm at Endgame in Lost Ark, or at least the current version of Endgame that we have, not what like KR in Russia has, but we it's, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, okay, I want this, 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 and this, and it's like, oh, I have to do that. Oh, I have to do this. And like,
yeah,
I would love to just spam, because I don't mind grinding in circles. So I'd love to go into a chaos dungeon all day long and just spam it on rotation. But you can only do it twice for profit. And then after that, it's like incredibly reduced amount of resources that you get and becomes really inefficient. I would also love to just get skill points so I can use most of my abilities. But you know what I need to get skill points? I have to go interact with NPCs and give them gifts and dance in front of them and show them emotes for skill points for the PvE dungeons. There's definitely something I don't want to be doing.
No, and that's why I said, like, I hadn't thought of it from that perspective, because I'm just coming at it from a PvP perspective, right? Because that's really all I'm interested in. So like, I agree with you that like that's shitty, and like that should be a place where someone like me and someone like you could come together and like agree, like, yeah, that sucks, and that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Like they should let you just do, what do you call it, chaos dungeon? I haven't even done that, but I'm assuming it's very similar to grinding in BDO if you enjoy it. So like, yeah, they should just let you do that if that's what you want to do all day. And I'm not saying that has to be like the best way of progressing or the only way, certainly not the only way, but just like a way. Just like PvP should be a way.
I feel like Rizzo's gonna hate Abyssal Dungeon. The pub groups
I don't
are
think so.
fucking dog shit.
Rez, do you hate like standard dungeons?
Do you hate relying on people and they constantly fuck up?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna hate it.
Well, that part, that's inevitable. That's even inevitable with your friends. You got to go through it a few times.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But you give more leeway to your friends, though.
Do you, or do you shit on them harder?
No, you shit on them more.
Jokingly, obviously.
It starts off as joking until the third or fourth fail, and then it starts getting really, really real. All right. Yeah. So I don't know, and this note. So KCCR, I get what you're saying and why you feel that way. So he says, I think it lets you play other games, which I personally like about Lost Ark. That is true to an extent, but so is, like, in BDO, you could also just play for 2 hours and then get off, and you will progress over time. And then because like every time I say with Lost Ark, it's like, well, yeah, respect your time if you're not like trying to push super hard.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to push super hard, it doesn't respect your time. It takes forever. Like I have so many hours in Lost Ark, and there are people like ahead of me, and I still am like, God, I got to like push harder and harder. And it definitely doesn't, quote, respect your time in that aspect. It still is a huge, huge time sink. And then everyone's like, well, you don't need to rush to the end. It's like, you don't need to rush to the end in BDO either. You could also just play for 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day or whatever you're willing to put into Lost Ark. If you enjoy it more, that's fine. But this whole like, well, it's really great. You just do this, then this. It takes 90 minutes, and then you go play other games. And it's like, well, or you push harder than that, and then you don't get to play other games because you got to keep going and going and going. There's a million other things to do. The checklist of shit to do. If I want to go just through my dailies now at the point that I'm at, It is like 90 minutes to 2.5 hours of shit that I have to do.
Yep. We talked about this earlier this week when I jumped into you guys' Lost Ark Discord. Where basically, I found it funny every time everyone said that this game respects your time and it's not pay to win, all these different aspects, and I'm just like, from a certain point of view, I guess, but like what you were just saying, like the aspects where it respects your time. If you actually want to progress and and stay, I guess, ahead of the curve, you have to basically do the alts. You have to, spend more additional time on those dailies and stuff like that to gain the resources to feed to your main, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty involved. It's not like, you do your 40 to an hour worth of 40 minutes to an hour worth of dailies and jump off all the time. It's not like that.
I just like to point out as well, you can play BDO for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and progress, unless that hour and a half to 2 hours is node warring. In which case, you're actually going backwards because you're losing money more than you're gaining it, which is unfucking believable. Again, I can't stress enough how ridiculous of a concept that is. Hey, you can play this game for 2 hours and go backwards. How do you like that?
No, Rezlar, you're paying for fun.
Hey, you get like
Dude.
40 mil from selling the Calpheon box if you win.
It's fucking infuriating.
Yeah, here's the thing too. Okay, so I have to address all these things. So Lost Arks, or this person says it just hurts so bad in BDO if a 700 gear score player Dynasty Warriors people, so you want to catch up and grind. The reality is that's not actually happening that often, and you can literally just avoid them. There are like 45 channels. I guess if you're on like a smaller region, it's more difficult. But if for whatever reason you're grinding or playing your game, you literally can avoid them. If you're in Node War, you can play Gear Cap Node Wars, like all this stuff. Another person is saying, but in BDO, it takes you 5 years to get to endgame, and Lost Ark takes you 1 week. First of all, none of us are actually at endgame because they didn't give us all the content. So it's kind of like Console, who got to endgame in the first week. Like the same argument you could make for Console that got to endgame in the first week of BDO when that shit came out, because they have a limited set of content and it just ends you there. Like the people in KR are all 1600 gear score. Do you know how it takes me a day now? It now takes me a day to get maybe one single gear score. So at the pace that I'm currently at, and maybe things will change in the future, we'll see. But right now, all I have is the game that we have. The current pace is about a gear score per day. That'll take about a year. So it's not that free if you want to get to the top end of the top end. Yes, you can get to like the entrance of endgame content, like which is where we kind of all are. But that's not that much different from like graduating from seasons and buying TED accessories and like, oh, now I get to go to Orcs. I mean, it's the same thing. And you get to participate in all the Gear Cap Node Wars if you want, Gear Cap Siege, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, it's actually like relatively similar. I don't know why people differentiate the two so much out of either passion for the one that they love or hatred for the one that they hate. But it's like, dude, they have a lot of similarities. And this is why, Rez, I wanted to talk about the enhancement system. Because in Lost Ark compared to BDO, because BDO, I hear a lot that, oh, the enhancement system is one of the reasons why I hate this game. Enhancement system is one of the reasons why I quit. The enhancement system it sucks. It feels really bad, and you go backwards, and this and that. Dude, when I'm playing, we have about 20 people that I've been playing with, and I follow. I'm like on the Reddit a lot on the Lost Ark, right? I have never heard in a game so quickly people saying like, dude, I think I'm going to take a break. I think I'm going to quit. Like the failures in Lost Ark feel terrible. Like they feel really, really, really bad. Like look, Cosmic Cube, the enhancement system is why I've kind of quit Lost Ark. Like, dude, Lost Ark enhancement, it's funny because the defense of it is always like, well, yeah, but if you fail 5 times, or 4 times or whatever, your next one is guaranteed. It's like, well, it becomes exponentially more difficult to get the materials to even do the fail as time goes on. Your chances get lower and lower, so you're more pushed towards that, like, you're probably going to fail. And you don't get to fail and then go back out there and keep grinding. You fail and then, like, I guess I'll try again tomorrow because you're out of mats for the day. Yeah, and it puts you behind. And right now, because the game is new, everyone's climbing around the same time, and we have like a group of 20 friends. We have 2 people that have literally done the exact same things I've done. Exact same things. They've done the same dailies, the same dungeons, the same everything. They've done the 2 chaos dungeons, they've done their 2 guardian raids. They're doing all the exact same things I've done, except my enhancements went and theirs didn't, and now I'm 1343 and they're stuck at 1080 in tier 2. And they're not just 1 day behind anymore because of their failures the next day. They're like 5 days behind or 6 days behind. Some of them are even like slowly just like, I didn't log in today because I didn't want to fail again because I knew it was going to make me feel bad. So it's just, I don't know. There's pluses and minuses to both systems. One of the things that I will praise Lost Ark for sure is I do love that there is that failsafe. Eventually you get it guaranteed. That is very, very nice and an awesome, awesome thing. Separately, something that BDO has that Lost Ark really doesn't have. If I don't, limited. Well, that BDO has is if I don't want to participate in the enhancement game, I literally do not have to in BDO. I can buy everything. I can just... The only thing, like, maybe is through Tuvala, which is super, super boosted and easy to do. But after Tuvala, which is the beginning of the game, I literally can purchase everything and just completely skip the enhancement system entirely. I never have to deal with it, which is an option. I can't buy plus 15 gear in Lost Ark, like, by just grinding all day. So they both have pluses. They both have minuses. There's other methods to help you in both games. We'll that topic I want to get to next week. But for this, it's like the enhancement systems have pluses and minuses on both. And like, yeah, when you've done all your dailies, it's weird. Like, Rez, I know you don't really like to grind, but I just imagine in BDO, like, imagine you log in, you have 3 rift bosses, right? You have you can do 1 hour of grinding, and then your grinding is cut off for the day. And you can go do a field boss and a world boss. And then whatever you get from that day you can enhance with. And if it fails, repeat the next day and start again. Or if it succeeds, you get to move on every single day. Because that's how it feels. Whereas like in BDO, if you have the drive, if you don't mind, like whether you want to fail or if you want to actually just buy everything, if something doesn't go, even though it does feel bad, I don't feel like, damn, I literally can't do anything else today. You can just go back out there and get the money again.
Yeah. The only thing to add into that, which isn't a part of the enhancement system, so I understand that. So it's not for that necessarily particular argument. It's just that feeling of stuck that you're talking about, Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
There is other aspects of the game that you can involve yourself in to kind of make, your time where you're quote unquote stuck not feel so bad.
Yeah.
An example would be, the collectibles.
Yep. No, there's for sure a lot of, well, that's the other, that's part of, I didn't get into that, but that's part of when people say the game respects your time, it's like, okay, there are a million other things you can go do that's not going to progress your gear. That's going to progress other things that literally just takes forever.
Points or, getting other items in the game like runes or whatever that you might need to complete your build or, complete your current version of your build. Yeah, there's definitely a ton of things you can still do even if you're quote unquote, tapped out for the day as far as resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the resource thing it's definitely, a big issue for a lot of players where they're just like, well, fuck, I guess that's it. I'll go do something else then. That's a kind of depressing feeling.
Yeah. So Legacy says, if you fail in BDO, you don't use crons, you go back to 0 and lose all your gear. First of all, you don't lose all of it, only accessories. Your actual armor and weapons you don't lose. Also, you can just take No, you don't take another. Are you talking about a pen roulette? He says, and you take another year to get back. Stop.
No,
No,
that's not it at all.
I literally could fail a pen. If I went for a Ted Ogre right now, I want you to think about this. Let's say I had a Ted Ogre on my Kuno, and I didn't have a pen Ogre. Let's just pretend, for example, I had a Ted Ogre, okay? And I have like a 180 stack, not even a great stack, just an average Joe stack. If I had a Ted Ogre, I could literally go tap the Ted Ogre, fail it, and then today get my Ogre back. Literally just today. A Ted Ogre is 7 bill. If I wanted to put in the time, I could go grind out that 7 bill today and have my Ogre back. Or, over time, I could save up a bunch of Ogres and tap on backups, and then I don't lose anything, which is what you always should do and always should have done. You should never be tapping on your main gear. Like, ever in history, like, it's just never been efficient to just raw tap on your main gear. No, if you fail, that's the thing. If you fail, that's not it. If you fail, you get to just go grind and buy it again and go for it again. And if you fail, you get to grind and go buy it again and go for it again. In Lost Ark, the difference is if you fail, that's it. You actually are done for the day. You can't go grind it out. Like at the end of your material list that you receive for the day, that you're done. Your daily allowance it's over. And someone's saying, if it's that bad, why do you play? Dude, I played BDO in the pre-Central Market days. I've been hardened over time. So the enhancement stuff, the reason why I'm pointing it out is because other people complain so much. I'm just letting you know this fictional, hey, God, it's so much easier and nicer in Lost Ark. They have this great enhancement system. I'm so glad I'm away from the BDO one. No, they're both incredibly toxic, and they both make you feel like you want to spend actual cash over time to just get more mats so you can keep going or get additional attempts. Both of them do this. Both of them give you that feeling. So you have to go in with tough skin and learn to ignore it. That's what, for me, it doesn't bother me that much. I can stomach it. But I know a lot of people that think they're going to go into Lost Ark like, oh, thank God, I don't have to deal with BDO's enhancement. That was the one thing. And then they're going to be stuck in tier 2 or stuck at whatever 1325 trying to get to 1340 and failing and be like, well, what do I do now? And it's like, oh yeah, you go grind on characters you probably don't want to play on lower levels and do all the same content that you already did over time to try to get yourself additional enhancements in the future.
Yep.
So it's like there's pluses and minuses to all of it. Now, all of that being said, and I've been having to say this now for 2 weeks, and maybe people don't actually believe me, but I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. I actually really love Lost Ark. It's incredibly fun, and I still really love BDO. I also think that BDO is still incredibly fun. Like, I get this weird, it's funny because I was playing Lost Ark the other day, and I know Rezlar and Nyashi are different than me in this, but I was like, dude, I just want to delete a pack with Makuno and Sakrea real quick. I just get that urge. I just want to kill some mobs. I want to go to RBF and shadow stomp through someone because there is nothing like the feeling of shadow stomping through a person. You know, I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. There's definitely been a few urges to jump in the PvP and whatnot, and like check out the new Mewa skin and whatnot. So it's just. I don't know. I'm the type of player that's like I dedicate solely into something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't invest a lot of time in multiple different things at once.
No, it's hard. And I actually am normally like that too, but I can't let these people catch up to me in gear and BDO or I won't be able to tend and cutter into gear check. So I have to chip away, little by little.
Have to be able to gear check people.
Yeah, I gambled the other day and lost a lot of money and ended up down to like 100 mil and then kind of got it back. And now I'm at 8.6 bill. Like, just casually playing. That's the thing, too, is like, dude, I keep saying, also, these login rewards are fucking cracked right now. These login rewards are actually super insane. I can't even believe the daily login rewards right now. If you have any intention, if you're playing Lost Ark and you have any intention of playing BDO in the future, just log in at night and fish or something. These rewards are ridiculous. It's actually like because I haven't been using any of it, so I'm just like saving all this stuff up. It's actually a lot of shit.
What is it?
It's like 20-day value packs and
yeah.
books and
So the
stuff like
6th
that.
anniversary reward, day 1 gives you 20-day value pack, day 2 20-day blessing, day 3 20-day old moon book, and then you get like mount skill coupons. You're gonna get 2 maids, you get 16 slot expansion, you get a couple hundred crons, like 66 artisans. You get this insane box that could end up being really good, but probably shit. You get a free costume on day 14. You get a free pet, couple life skill books, some fail stacks, and then that's the anniversary tab. And then the normal loyalty tab is called enhanced loyalty this month, and it's like everything you kind of normally get, but times like a lot, like times 10. So instead of like you got an advice of immortality for logging in, you get 3, and then the next day you get 3 advice of destiny, 3 advice of safety, 3 advice of memory, 60 crons every 6 days. You get another, or 7 days, you get another 60 crons. They're giving you 5 Shikatsu seals at the end of every week. For the first 4 weeks on this attendance, you get a bunch of boxes, some horse mats. Yeah, it's just a lot of shit. A bunch of Kaffir stones. It's nice. These attendance awards are actually cracked. What's not cracked?
Feels like they're throwing a lot of free shit at people to try and get them to not go play Lost Ark when they could have just kept the tag event.
I don't think the tag event was during Lost Ark for 2 weeks.
You should have kept it longer.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone does event. I mean, that's not unique to BDO. Every game does events during game releases, but
I am upset that they ended the tag event, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
the tag
it was
event
bound to happen.
The tag event, in my worthless opinion, the tag event is the healthiest and most fun BDO has ever been.
You don't have the most fun gambling for these sweet chocolate boxes?
I don't even know what that is.
I have a...
Listen, I log in, I do my node war, I lose 100 mil, and then I log off.
Oh, I have a really good chance to get a combat and skill EXP.
How do you
swap
lose
coupon.
100 mil doing Node Wars?
He dies a lot.
Yep.
Jesus.
I don't recommend shot calling as a glass cannon. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The enhancement system is really interesting. It's like, I'm trying to think of if I explain the rates, if it'll, because I really want to know how Rezar feels about it, but he hasn't gotten to the point of enhancing. Now, actually, how do you feel about the enhancing in Lost Ark so far?
Fine. I think it's perfectly fine the way it is.
I mean, I think it's fine the way it is. I don't know if I'd change it. I'm just curious if you feel it's harder or not. Like, the thing is, that's why I need you to be in at least tier 3, and Rezlar.
I'm gonna be in tier 3 in like 2 days.
Yeah, because in tier 3 you don't get islands. There's no islands for mats.
Yeah, that'll be a totally different animal for me.
Yeah, there's no islands. So,
Those islands are
you
so
guys are
helpful.
talking about.
So what they ended up doing, Rez, in the tier 1 content, which is basically from 0 to 600 eye level, and tier 2 content, which is 600 to 1100 eye level, is as a catch-up mechanic. When the next tier came out, they added a bunch of rewards with quests from all these random different islands around the map that give you a shitload of enhancement mats, so you could kind of power through if you're starting the game and all these people are in tier 3 or whatever. So in tier 1, once you get to level 50 and your gear score is 302, you go run all these islands and you get a shitload of enhancement materials like right away. And then in tier 2, once you get to tier 2 content, when you're 1100 gear score, 600 plus gear score, it's the same thing. You get a bunch of enhancement mats. Questline gives you a bunch of mats. And then in tier 3, those islands don't exist. So you get no bonus enhancement mats. It's whatever you get from your dailies and that's it. So you go from having like, when you run all these islands and save up, you get to sit there and enhance for like an hour and a half, just like power through all the way to like plus 12, plus 13, plus 14. When you get into tier 3, you're out of materials when you're plus 2, maybe plus 3. It's like actually like you're just done. That's it. You're out of mats. And now you're like, all right, well, I got to start working on other stuff, I guess, since I can't progress my gear. So it's like it's a different beast because there's no catch-up mechanic really.
Interesting.
Maybe there will be,
also-
but there's not.
I also
currently.
wanted to ask about earlier when you guys were talking about enhancement mats and things of that nature.
Mhm.
I don't know shit about this game. I only know what other people have said, but I've heard people say something along the lines of you funnel mats from alts into your main.
Yeah.
Is that not something you can do?
It is, but the alt has to be in the same tier as your main. So one of the things that makes it kind of tough starting from scratch is you basically have to use all the materials on your alt first to get your alt to the level that your main is at, so that way you can start funneling mats. But basically, a lot of the mats that you get from the daily stuff, like Guardian Raids and Chaos Dungeons, are they're bound to roster, so you can give them to your other character. But that only really works if they're in the same part of the game. So that's why I'm slowly working up on trying to get my shit up.
So you need like for instance, you need 2 tier 2 characters to make one character tier 3, and so on and so forth. Basically.
Well, you need a tier. You basically need them to be in the exact same tier. So in order for me to get bonus progression in tier 3, like faster progression, I want multiple characters in tier 3 that all go run their dailies and just pour all of the materials I gain from those dailies into the one character.
Okay.
Yeah. Since you're gated behind dailies, you can only do everything once on each character, basically, once or twice on each character. So what people end up doing is they kind of get a routine of all right, I'll log on to these 3 or 4 characters, do all the Chaos Dungeon, the Guardian Raids, and then every material I get I'll send over to my main and then do an enhancement session. So that part of it is actually really cool. It's just I wish I could cut out that and just work harder and get the exact same result, because I'm a grinder, so I don't mind going and going. I get that I don't know. It's it has its pluses and it has its minuses. But for me and my playstyle personally, I do wish I could just grind harder to get kind of the same thing, even if it was kind of a reduced rate. If it was okay, you could either do 2 Chaos Dungeons on all 6 of your characters, so that would be 12 total one day, or you could do 6 on just your main, but you get a reduced amount. I don't know. It's just something. I'm a grinder and I just want to stay on my one character. But we'll see. I don't know. I guess the net result is if you actually do put in the work, then those characters are also in tier 3, and if you end up deciding to re-roll, you can start gearing those characters up instead. It's we'll see. The other thing, thanks Fortis for reminding me. So I've been sitting here God, I really hope we get these ranked arenas in BDO. I really, really want ranked arenas. I think it'd be awesome for the game if they do them right. I think it'll be fun. I think there's a lot of people that wanna do it, and it's fun. I think it's fun laddering. I've always been a big fan of laddering in games. It's one of the reasons why, even though I didn't really like League, it kind of made it fun because you compete with your friends a little bit, and shit talk, and it's just a whole nother aspect of the game. And I don't know why, but we don't have the ranked arenas in Lost Ark, and I have no idea when they're coming. So I'm sitting here both games, I don't have my ranked arenas, and it's tilting the fuck out of me. It's all I want, man. Give me goddamn ranked arenas in one of the 2 games, please.
Yeah, the no ranked arenas in Lost Ark's very confusing.
Well, I think they are implementing it. It's just not in at the start. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, it's
but
it's out in other regions.
That's the question. Why?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do a season of ranked arenas yet in Lost Ark, or at least announce, hey, ranked arena season 1 is beginning on this date, so we know. It's just kind of okay, where is it?
Yep, very confusing.
So Rez, you haven't quite gotten there, but Nyashi, what are your feelings on some of the Guardian raids and the Abyssal dungeons you've done in Lost Ark? How do they feel?
I think they're fun. I think the specifically the Abyssal dungeons is very fun, but also frustrating because pub groups you find out how can't really rely on people, unfortunately, and you'll spend hours and hours and hours in there sometimes. But that's just the nature of it, but when you get a really strong group, it's really fun, smooth. The Guardians are pretty challenging, especially when you don't know their fucking HP bars, so it's a little frustrating. But yeah, I mean, overall, like the content is really good from a PvE point of view. Like all the really interesting aspects of it is like when you start grouping up with people, and you just that's some like BDO kind of lacks. I mean, I know they introduced the dungeons, and I know they have some duo content, some 3-player content in grind zones, but like those are just typically not like focused at all by a lot of players because they're just not as lucrative. So these other things, though, you kind of need to do in order to progress. Some people might not necessarily like that aspect of it, but
for me, the dungeons are fun. Now I'm a little bit like PDO has a Guardian raid. It's called Garmoth. Stop. So I'm a little bit spoiled because of my friend group. Like we all have been kind of gearing up around the same time. So I have only had to do pugs like twice. But they are interesting. I had to do, the sword guy abyssal dungeon where he spawns the 4 swords. Have you done that one? Actually, that one's in tier 1. Dude, that one, like trying to explain it, there was this one guy in there that he said okay to everything I said. So I was like, all right, I was like, here's how it works. I was like, at some point, you're going to hear a bell sound. He's going to teleport to the middle of the arena. 4 swords are going to spawn. All right. The swords are going to chase after you in a clockwise motion. So everyone needs to walk clockwise. One person takes a sword, and when they do, everyone gets a debuff on their bar. When that first person takes the sword, they have to go hit the boss, and the debuff comes off your bar after 3 seconds. So someone grabs a sword, hit the boss, wait 3 seconds. Another person grabs a sword, hit the boss, wait 3 seconds. If you grab the next sword before the debuff is off your bar, everyone dies. So you cannot grab the sword early, right? Yeah. And you also kind of have to do it in a timely manner because he'll also kill you if you take too long. So I explained that, and he's like, okay, got it. And then we did it once, we wiped, and then we did it a second time, we wiped, we did it a third time, and I was like, is there anything you're not understanding? I was like, let me re-explain it. And then he's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I have no idea what's happening. And I was like, I thought you said you got it, man. And I was like, oh my God, dude, this is going to be impossible. He's like, I have no idea what's going on at all. And I'm like, God damn it, man. You grab the swords in order and walk clockwise. Not that hard, man. Look at your bar. And he's like, what? What bar? I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's fucking hard. I can't imagine doing too many of those. Dude, there's another one too that has like a it's the second one in that same abyssal dungeon group where she has like a wave of whatever, like a death wave that just moves across the room, and there's a bunch of mirrors. And literally the mechanic is you just go into the mirrors all have different colors, so you kind of match them up. When you walk over to a mirror and interact with it, it teleports you to the corresponding mirror of that color. So you're just basically trying to teleport to the other side of the room through the mirrors to avoid the wave. And like everyone, I literally 4 times in a row after explaining it, everyone got hit by the wave except for me, like multiple times. I was like, dude, go to a mirror, man. Like, just go to it and talk to a mirror. It's all, the moment you see that wave coming across, you just walk to the mirror and interact with it. And they're like, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to run in a circle and panic until the wave hits me and die. It's like, come on, man. You
definitely, this is where, like, there's definitely a big negative. So, like, you know how we've always wanted, like, a lot of players have always wanted, like, group content and stuff like that. They've been begging for it in, like, BDO. This is the negative to having group content.
Yeah.
There's some aspects of it which are not as desirable. You find out that some people are actually they still haven't evolved, and it's a concern.
Mm-hmm.
So it just is what it is.
It can be tough. Here,
It's rough.
I'm gonna play this boss fight on the screen for anyone that's interested. But yeah, essentially these swords spawn up and chase you around, and then on your mana bar you get a buff, or rather a debuff. And while that debuff is active, if anyone else touches the sword, your team wipes. So you gotta like grab the sword, wait for the debuff to go away, then grab the next sword, wait for the debuff to go away, and go attack the boss. So that process. It's 5 seconds of time. It takes like 5-6 seconds total to get through this mechanic. And like, dude, it is like so hard to explain to people because the game, when everything is new too, everything feels so sped up.
Yeah.
Like when you watch it and you know what it is, it looks so slowed down for you because you've seen it before and you recognize everything that's happening. But when you're sitting there trying not to die from all his normal shit, and then this sword thing happens and you're like, then you're kind of nervous, like, oh my God, am I going to fuck it up? I don't want to be the guy that fucks it up. Do I grab it late? Did I grab it on time and then everyone dies and it's your fault? It's that shit. I understand people get some anxiety during that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty nuts what can end up, like a lot of the stuff that they do is basically just it's just bullshit. It's nothing to worry about per se. You should just focus on the mechanics and that's it. But
what class are you again?
Shadow Hunter.
Okay. I was just seeing if your class carried or not. Go on.
Oh yeah,
he is.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, the enhancements though. So that you haven't really felt too bad with the enhancement. What's your eye level, Ashy?
1073. I need 2 more to 14, and then.
All right, let's reconvene after your full plus 15 and see how you feel about the enhancement system.
Yeah, well, I have 120. What are the Moon's Breath, or what's the tier 2 version? I forget.
Yeah, Moon's Breath, the one that gives you extra chance.
Yeah, we'll see how many of those I fail. Those 120 are gonna evaporate. I know. It's gonna be sad.
Yeah, Poochie's saying, so since some people are new in vets, tell you don't stand on the red, but the entire map is red, people get overwhelmed and freak out. It is true. Like sometimes the entire fucking map is red. So you're just like, wait, where do I go? And then sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's blue. Yeah, plus 15 to plus 14 to plus 15 is cursed. It's going from 11 or from 1090 to 1100. That's like daunting, Nyashi, where it's just like, oh my God.
Really?
Well, because it's more expensive per attempt, but also like the lower chance.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because
I'm hoping I get lucky because I didn't get lucky on the T1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping maybe I get lucky on this aspect of it, where I just coast right into T3 and then we're good.
What's the success rate on a? What is the success rate going from 14 to 15?
I think it's 40%.
Is it 40%?
Naturally, I think it's 40%.
Yeah, so this is where tier 3. Okay, people are saying 40%. This is where tier 3 instantly feels more difficult because going from plus 5 to plus 6 is 60%, and then 6 to 7 is like 45%, and then 7 to 8 and beyond is 30% base.
Yeah.
So that shit is like they just start off real early, giving you those low rates. Now, I did notice going all the way to like 10, it stays at 30%. It hasn't gone down from there yet. So I don't know if that changes later, but so far so good. But it's rough. Dude, and the sound effect, I mean, BDO does it too. The sound effect for failing feels awful, dude. I hate that sound now. That doom. Whatever it is, it's just like, oh. Oh, the fail sound, dude. I mean, I hate it in BDO, and I hate the fail sound in Lost Ark. That fail
It's
sound
rough.
is just, I just like, my stomach just turns. Like, I'm like, oh my God, am I going to hear that fail sound? And then, like, every time you hear the success, you're like, oh, thank God. Thank God. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Rez, you said you don't have that much experience in other MMOs. Have you done any like dungeons or raids in any other game besides Paladins?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think you'll enjoy
Trying to think.
it.
So the MMOs that I've played, I'm trying to think. I played RuneScape when I was a youngster.
Mhm.
I played EQOA on PlayStation 2.
Does RuneScape have like done? I actually never played RuneScape. I played it for like a half second years ago, but
I don't know because the only thing I did in RuneScape, I swear to God, I'm not joking in any capacity. The only thing I did in RuneScape was mine iron, turn it into armor and weapons, and then give it to newbies logging into Lumbridge.
I see.
That's literally all I ever did in RuneScape.
Got it. And that was endgame, huh?
For me, yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed giving like new players this shit, and they were always like so thankful. They were like, "Oh, I don't have anything," and it was like, "No, it's free. Just take it." And they were always so thankful because they like have this new character, and then they start off with a full set of iron shit.
So
it was nice. It was fun.
what
I was also like 10, so
what happened from then till now that you're just toxic as fuck?
League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
True.
Got it.
I discovered
True.
League of Legends in 2010, and it's all been downhill from there.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, I played EQOA even younger than that. But I didn't really play EQOA. I just kind of followed my cousin around. EverQuest Online Adventures. For those who maybe
Okay,
don't
yeah, I
know
was
what
like,
that
I
is.
don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, it's EverQuest Online Adventures. It was a game for I think either the PlayStation or the PlayStation 2. I think it was the PlayStation 2. It was a really, really good MMO. I had a lot of fun with it, but I didn't really pay attention much to what I was doing. I was just kind of following my cousin around, who was the actual person who knew what was happening. We probably did some dungeons in that game, I would assume, or like some raids or something. I don't remember it super well because I was like fucking 8.
Yeah. Well,
And then I played Vindictus. I
wait,
played a little bit
that
of
had like
Vindictus.
dungeons or at least like raid bosses, didn't it?
I didn't really get very far in Vindictus.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really. It was an okay game, but I don't know. It didn't really. I put like maybe 20 hours into Vindictus, and I was like, this kind of sucks. And then I discovered BDO shortly thereafter.
Right. Okay. Yeah. For me, I
And
played
then-
Ion and
Yeah.
Terra, and Terra was. I can't actually remember the dungeons in Ion or if I liked them, but I loved the ones in Terra, for sure. And then Blade and Soul as well after.
I played a little bit of Terra with my friend Garrett. And we probably did some dungeons and stuff too, but that was like way after its heyday. That was like when it was dead as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, Ion was good. I still, the game mode dredging, I've talked about it in the show a couple of years ago, but God, I wish we had that in BDO so much. It was essentially like Capture the Point like Valencia is, except you had to fight a giant pack of like really tanky mobs to get the point and to unlock the next area. Like you were locked in your zone until you captured the point, and then you would break through, and the two teams started on opposite sides. It was 2 teams of 5. And then like you would capture the point, kill the mobs, and then eventually enough points are captured that the map is open enough that now you're trying to kill the other team while also capturing more points. So it's like a balance. And the more points you have, the more points, like the more points you've captured, the more the higher your score. It was so fun, dude.
That sounds like a pretty interesting. Like they could definitely do something like that in BDO's Battlefield.
Yeah, it would be really sick. The problem for me anyway in Ion was the CC system in that game was fucking awful. if a Sorc put you to sleep, you were literally asleep for 60 seconds. You had to just sit there like a fucking asshole, asleep for 60 whole seconds while you watch your team lose in a 5v4 because you can't be woken up. Or like it was like, well, my cleanse is on cooldown, so you're just sitting there for 60 seconds. Sorry, man.
Rip.
Yeah, the CCs in that game were crazy. But yeah, so I don't know. I like got into dungeons then, and then, but it's weird too because Lost Ark being like isometric view, it's like totally different style. But it's pretty fun. The dungeons are pretty fun in the game. I like that.
It's definitely one of the few games where I actually thoroughly enjoy the PvE for the most part.
Yeah. Do you feel like I get a lot of pushback when I say this, but do you feel like there's a lot borrowed from Diablo in Lost Ark? Like outside of the isometric stuff?
I guess you could say like the Chaos dungeons are sort of like Greater Rifts in a way, but not really at the same time. Because obviously Greater Rifts you can continue to go until you basically can't. Trying to think.
Yeah, to me,
I don't really think so. I think there's more unique like PvE content in Lost Ark than D3,
for
example.
sure. D3 or D2, it's more vast, being that it's an MMO, but it still feels like, I don't know. To
there's
me,
some similarities.
There's a lot of times where I'm just like, dude, I'm literally just playing Diablo right now, but it's been turned into an MMO. Like that's how it feels.
Yeah.
When I'm basically playing Crusader or Paladin on my Paladin.
Like if Diablo did like an Abyssal Dungeon type thing for like, you know, the Primevals, that would actually be really fun, I think. Like 8 players, because I mean Diablo is 8-player focused anyways.
Attention everyone. I have hit level 50.
Hey.
Oh shit.
Now you just keep questing until you've gotten to the Iceland and finished all 3 dungeons there. And you can now do Chaos dungeons and all that shit after that. Congrats, man.
Yeah, and then you can actually truly experience the game for what it is.
Yeah, the questing in this game is long. And it only there's only more and more after. Luckily the tier 3 quest line, it wasn't too bad. But
really?
tier 2, like Yorn and Phaeton, oh my god, dude.
Phaeton wasn't long. That was short. Yorn was a little bit longer, but it wasn't that much longer.
Phaeton was long because you couldn't skip any of the cutscenes, and I wanted to the whole time.
But the Black Rain cutscene was sick as fuck.
They were cool, but they still were very skippable for me, alright? I'm not into cutscenes.
Frosty, can we play a game?
Yeah.
I want you to describe the story of Lost Ark.
Okay.
Best you can.
Okay.
Because both me and Ayashi have paid attention to it pretty well.
Can I take some of the information from what I've heard, like from your guys' discussions and other people I've heard, to kind of
absolutely,
put it all together?
Absolutely, yeah,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so here's the story. Here's what's going on in Lost Ark. Spoiler alerts for those who are not prepared for this. So, in Lost Ark, you're just a young lad or a young lady, and you're traveling through the world.
Young lad.
You're born in this town that has storks, evil storks with crazy faces, and you help this guy from falling off a cliff. This guy's name is Armin. After you help him from falling off a cliff, Armin befriends you. And now, every time Armin's in a bind, he calls you. He gets a little annoying, but he calls you, and you go help Armin from time to time. And then, later on, some stuff kind of got skipped here, but later on, you end up in a sort of like a fighting tournament. And I don't know if Armin's involved, but I do think he's rooting for you in some way.
You just skipped so much.
Oh my god.
I don't think I did. I'm still on track. So you get to the tournament, and then you prove that you are. What was the title we all gained, Rose?
The first sword.
First sword of Shang-Hun.
Yeah, we are the first sword of Shang-Hun, and then basically, after that, things get real dark and weary. There's a volcano eruption, so you travel over to Yorn. And over there, you find out that Armin isn't there, and you feel like either... Hold on. Either something happened to Armin, or you missed out on something, because you haven't seen Armin for a bit. So I haven't seen Armin for a while, so I assume he's in trouble, or he found someone else to do his bidding. So in Yorn, things get dark, there's some volcanoes, and it gets pretty crazy, honestly. Jack said Armin went to BDO at that point.
Oh, man.
I would say I'm pretty close. Oh, yeah, and then Rowendell. Sorry. Let me backtrack to Rowendell. I skipped Rowendell. In Rowendell, you meet a gigantic owl. This big-ass owl.
Entirely. You skipped the entire story.
No, I didn't. That was all. That was the Armin stuff. All right, so in... so in Rowendell, you meet this gigantic owl that walks on its hind legs and like moves around, and he's fucking angry, and you're like, oh shit, we gotta run from him. There's nowhere to go because there's these thorns here. So then you fight this owl and you beat the shit out of him until he becomes your friend. And then and that owl kind of just protects that area for you, I guess. I think he just stays in Rowendell doing protecting.
God.
Owls have front legs? He's sitting on his hind legs. Oh, well, he has like he has sort of hand-like wings, I think. I don't know, it was a weird owl. He looked like a mutated owl. But yeah, he actually was like evil. I thought that part was so weird because I didn't see any of the dialogue, but I was like, that's so weird. We just beat the shit out of this owl, and now all of a sudden he's like, we love and respect you, friend. And I was like, God damn, this guy took a mad beating. He changed sides immediately. It's crazy.
You get your ass kicked so bad, your fucking viewpoints change.
Yeah, so he's on our side now. The last thing I saw is this guy who's pretending to be Diablo is doing all sorts of crazy shit in Phaeton. I went to Punica, and while it is a tropical vacation, like Hawaiian type island, it's been ravaged by fucking flowers with teeth. So that's a problem.
Flowers with teeth.
Yeah, it's been just completely ravaged by flowers with teeth. So there's also that, you know?
This has got to be the best story I've ever heard.
Armin's still nowhere to be seen. I assumed as I was traveling to this tropical island.
What happened to Armin, Frosty? What happened to Armin?
Well, I'm guessing since he didn't make it to the Hawaiian Islands that he's probably on sabbatical, like a forced sabbatical, but I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember what happened to Armin, but I assume he comes back in a later date. I just have no idea.
The thing is, like,
dude, holy shit.
Rezlar,
are you gonna be surprised when he comes back?
Yeah, Rezlar, when you're still in the T1 phase of things, so you haven't even seen the T2 related storyline yet. I am not at T3 yet, so I haven't seen the T3 storyline. But yeah,
you can assume everything I said was right.
Oh yeah,
holy
yeah,
shit.
totally. There's nothing that sounded out of the ordinary.
By the way, every week when we talk about BDO stuff that's on Global Labs, that's how you guys sound, right? How about that?
True. That's true. That's a
Frosty, do you not remember the siege on Lutera? It's like,
oh yes, was that Lutera? Yes, there was
Lutera.
Yeah. There was a big siege, but I don't know really what came of it. To be honest, I think one of the sides won. I just can't remember when we were in that siege if I was defending or if I was on offense. I actually don't remember.
You actually had a dialogue there where that was actually an option.
Did we infiltrate the castle or were we defending it? I actually don't remember.
Holy shit.
Is that spoilers? We can't talk about it? Did we attack that castle? Did we conquer it finally?
Oh yeah, it was conquered.
Hell yeah.
You defended it. At least I think you defended it. Nash, did you accept the demon's offer? Because I didn't.
No.
Do you actually go attack the castle if you accept it?
No.
I didn't think so.
I didn't accept it, so I don't know for sure.
Holy shit!
You took the castle first, then defended it. Okay, so it was just like BDO Siege.
And he skips he totally skips over this super like emotional cliffside scene too. Oh my god. Hilarious.
Wait, it's vaguely coming back to me. Some woman was there and she lost her daughter. Does that sound right? Was it like no?
No. A lot of people lost a lot of people.
I cried the memory out. Oh yeah, randomly the guy was like asking them to do something and then he just shot the kids. I remember. Yeah, he just shot the kids. Or something.
What?
Did he shoot the kid? There was like
what are you talking about?
I remember that scene you're talking about. There's like a bunch of people and they're like kids and innocents, and the dude just like gats them down or whatever the fuck. Or maybe he blasts them with like a magical ray of light. I can't remember. Like he kills all those innocent people and then leaves. Am I off base here?
Holy shit.
The cliff, yes, the cliff shooting.
Not only are you off base,
the cliff
you're not
shooting.
on this world.
No, the cliff shooting. Is that the part you're talking about?
The thing is I haven't finished the story yet, so I feel like you're describing something in the future.
No.
That's
earlier on. The cliff shooting, I think, isn't that Lutera?
Yes, it is, but he doesn't just walk away. There's a whole event that happens. Jesus Christ, Frosty, you play demonized Armin. You can't have skipped past that.
He shoots them all down and forces you into a demon form. Now I remember. That part was awful. I hated that shit. And the skills it gave you were annoying too.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He did kind of just walk away. We just chased him down in demon form, didn't we?
Chased is a strong word. You slowly walked towards him.
Okay. Oh yeah, you couldn't even move. It like rendered your movement horrible, dude.
It was faster. It was faster to use the auto attack than to walk.
Yeah,
or to use like the first skill that moved you forward.
Right, dude. I saw this on Reddit the other day, but it was like to whoever the dev is that has these quests where you have to try not to be seen by the guards and you transform. Know that I hate you, and I am 100% on board with that guy. Just when is the last time someone transformed into a being and had to slow walk through those guards and was like, dude, that was a sick quest. You're gonna love this, unironically. Never in the history of ever. Please stop making those a thing. God damn it. Also, you know what tilts me so much about those? And like, I don't know the exact story that's going on, but it's like you're hiding from these guards. If you get caught, you die, start over, no checkpoint. Hiding from these guards. And then at the end, you fight the guards anyway, and you like 1v100 them down like nothing. So like, why didn't I just walk through and farm the guards to begin with? What the fuck? That shit tilts me, man.
It's just not how the story was intended to go.
Yeah, you finally get to the end, like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And then guards show up and you just like, all right, zap, you're dead. Guess I am supposed to be here. Maybe I shouldn't have worn a robe. Wasted a bunch of time. It was, yeah, fuck those quests. And fuck not giving us a checkpoint when you've already made it 5 minutes in, all right? I don't know. I think that's all we got, Russ. So I want to talk about anything else. Life skills got a big update, and I'm actually very happy for them. I think the alchemy ones are coming. So trading's been updated. I hear hunting and gathering both are fucking insane now in BDO, and yeah, I don't know if I'll ever partake, even though I know 6 months from now it's gonna be one of those things like, LOL, you still grind? I make 4 bill a day life skilling for only 1 hour. And it's like, all right, well, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, are we not going to talk about the Calpheon Ball Part 2 thing?
Oh yeah, it's coming March 10th. Has a countdown. Your thoughts?
Big countdown.
I mean, what the hell is it for? Is there new content? Like, is it what? I'm so confused.
Well, they're probably gonna have this big thing about the new region, I'm sure, which nobody will care about because it's been out in KR for so long. But they'll be like, NA, you get ready for the new region. They're probably gonna have teaser for the new class that they showed the silhouette of at the last thing. Probably going to reveal arenas, most likely, I think. They'll be like, all right, here's what we added to arenas to make them unique and also not fun. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know how you could have a content announcement ball when like the stuff from the last 2 balls is not out yet, but I guess we'll see.
That's just how it works.
Maybe
Like,
maybe they also like announce / showcase the specialized Lightstones, the ones that like affect skills or something. Because like that might be a big thing.
That would
like,
be huge.
showing
Yeah, that
stuff.
would be huge. We'll see what's up with that. 4% more damage on violation. Let's go. Yeah, that
Please
could be
God, no.
huge. If it was if they did it right. That would be fun. Yeah, I don't know. Not really sure what else they have. It's not like there's gonna be a new region. Maybe they'll announce. I don't even want to get my expectations up. I'm just gonna expect them to announce the winter region is coming.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna do winter region for NAEU. They're gonna do new class, the Dragon Knight lady. They're gonna do arenas. I don't know. I don't know what else they would do. Maybe they announce the next like global siege they're gonna work on since RU versus EU got canceled.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that got canceled. It ended up being tied 1-1. So the third and final match is not happening.
Not happening. Yep. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I suppose. I'm interested to see what they're gonna bring up because they explicitly said in the last thing that they're not gonna announce things that are just kind of like ideas anymore, which means a lot of their announcements.
Which means there should be a really short ball then.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like most of what the balls have been like, oh, here's what we're working on, and then they just get canceled because they're just like vague ideas that never get implemented. So if they're taking all of those out, there's not much to talk about, I don't think. So
J
it's gonna
Hammers?
be interesting. Say what?
J Hammers?
Jammers?
Are we getting a hammer?
Probably, actually.
That'll be nice. Hammers are always fun, aren't they? All right. Comment section?
Comment section.
Comment.
Wait, why am I feeling like we forgot something?
We could talk about the beast mode transformers.
Okay, I guess we didn't forget anything. I thought we forgot something, but I guess not. All right, do you want me to do the comments, or you gonna do them?
Can I join the call so you guys can poke holes in my proposed RBF reward structure I made in 30 minutes afterwards? You could join right now. Are you available, Choice? Let's fucking go.
Join right now.
And we'll have to restart the call, I think. Do we have a group with him already since he was on recently? Let me see. No. All right, let me create one real quick.
Yeah, just make one.
Unless he unfriended me, which is typical.
Wow.
Oh no! Wait, can we just join the?
Yeah, this is already done. Here we go.
I was gonna say, couldn't we just join the partner podcast Discord? But
hello there.
What's up,
Yo,
man?
yo.
First of all, wait. Before we get to your RBF thing, how wrong is Reslar for hating that you have to progress in order to get to endgame content?
I don't know. He might have a good point based on the reward structure for this RBF that I'm about to show you guys.
All right.
Oh shit.
So that whole conversation sparked my interest in like, how would an actual RBF reward structure look if you were to do it in a way that could potentially not be abused? Now, I just started developing this while I was listening to the podcast. So, this is why I want you guys to poke holes in my little spreadsheet that I have here.
Okay.
I linked it in the chat or in the Discord.
Access requested.
Yep, same.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me just make it public.
Okay, that'd be nice.
Okay, now it's public.
All right, let's try this. Okay.
So let me explain because
Alright.
it's a lot to take in.
Okay, what do we look
Is
at?
everybody looking at it right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the idea. As you can see based on the bullet points, the rewards are based on your performance in RBF. So the reason why I think that a performance-based RBF reward system has to work is because there has to be scalability. A person that has very high gear score can grind for very large amounts of money per hour. So therefore, the time spent in RBF should be sort of relating to your gear score in some way, where you should generally be performing better the higher your gear score is. So that is why I have it in a scaling manner here. So captures of points, right? So if we're talking about the Valencia RBF,
Okay.
capture the points will say they're worth 3 points each. Kills are worth 1 point each. So that way, there it has players that want to get objectives, while also, you're going to get kills while you are playing those objectives. And generally, the more you kill, the more easy it is to capture an objective because you can't be contested, right?
All right.
So then number 3, the silver reward maxes out at 230 mil per RBF for the number 1 player. So if you look at the table here, it says for the victor reward, the first place player reward is going to be 230 mil in the total earned category.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are some modifiers that are taken into account here to prevent abuse. So the first modifier you might notice here is how many players are there at the end of the match. This is to prevent people from joining an RBF at dead hours and joining with 2 friends on either side and reaping a whole bunch of rewards when there's only 4 people in the RBF. So the reward scales based on the number of players that are in that RBF when the timer hits 0 or
Okay.
the victory happens. You then get a multiplier rating based on how well you did. So it scales down by 2 every time if you are first, second, third, whatever. So this is basically your reward for performing well as your multiplier. It also takes into account your total time in the match. So if somebody joins an RBF with 10 minutes left, that means that if they were only in there for a total of 10 out of the 20 minutes, their total time in the match was only 50%, which means that the amount of silver that they're going to earn is going to be cut in half because they were only participating in half of that RBF.
Right.
So this is to prevent players from being able to join 6 RBFs in an hour if they join every 10 minutes compared to 3 if they were at 20 minutes every time.
Okay,
And
makes
so,
sense. I like it so far.
yeah. So that's to prevent that abuse of, this is to control basically how much money is the total theoretical maximum, which would be 3 times 230 mil. So the most that a player could ever get from doing an hour of RBF would be 690 mil. This would assume that they win every single game and they were the MVP every single time.
For 100%
And-
of the time in all 3 of the matches, all 20 minutes.
Yep. And they'd have to be in for an entire 60 minutes. It could not be, you could not get higher than this. It would be the maximum you could ever get. Okay,
Alright.
so
Yeah.
number 4 point here, max reward is scaled on number of players in the match plus percentage of time in the match. The reason why it's 20 minutes being 100%, even though a lot of Valencia RBFs only last 13 minutes because of the point cap reaching,
Mhm.
is because Castle Ruins is still a thing. And I assume that if a actual real reward structure for PvP is put into place, all these RBFs are going to be a lot more populated, and therefore people are going to be doing Castle Ruins, people are going to be doing Valencia, maybe even Garmoth will see something. So this applies to all 3.
Okay.
Where the other, so the one last comment about the reward structure is this: there is no way to reward a DP player. Like I racked my brain. DP players, like, unless you're just out there capturing hella points, like, I can't possibly figure out how to make the rewards scale based on your DP, and it would just, yeah, I'm just sorry to the DP players.
It still kind of would if they do play objectives, right? Like, maybe they wouldn't get first, but they could definitely be in the top 10 by capturing points, because I mean, you can capture points at a clip. Like, think about it. At the end of a 20-minute RBF, people have, what, anywhere from 20 to 50 kills, right? But if you capture, what, 10 points and then steal, like, 3 or 4 kills, like, you still have 30, You're still, like, up there.
But, question, is there not a way to add some sort of, like, contested, like, defense sort of time. So like the longer you're on your point, which is currently being contested by the enemy, maybe you get like 1 point every like I don't know, like 15 seconds or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, this is exactly why I wanted to take it to talk to you guys about, is because I developed this in like 30 minutes listening to the podcast. So there's definitely a lot of holes that you can poke in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So
so-
yeah,
And
something
also,
in regards to time on point is definitely good.
yeah. I want
contested point, I would say.
I
To
want
make
to
sure.
give some counterpoints potentially, and you give me your thoughts on it. So one,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're calling it silver reward because we don't have anything else to, like, you'd have to break down what items you'd want if you wanted to break it down so it's not just raw silver, or do you think
Yeah.
it should just be raw silver and nothing else?
So at this point in the game, the Orcs is just raw silver, and Orcs is not going away. So I figure, you know what? We've had over a year now, or almost a year, of Elvia and Orcs and straight up just raw silver being pumped into the game. That who cares? You know what? Like if PA thinks that it's okay to pump this much raw silver into the game, then pump it in, baby. Like just let it happen. So, you know, I see a lot of players that are going to be grinding Orcs are probably going to switch over and start doing a lot more RBF. So whether they get the silver from Orcs or whether they get the silver from PvPing, I really don't feel that this is going to have a massive effect on the economy. And if PA is willing to leave Orcs at massive silver, then I don't see why they would have much of an issue with this.
Okay. I mean, I partially agree. I still think it would probably be better if there was some sort of items, but I don't know. Also,
Yeah.
I hate Orcs, and I hate the state that Orcs is.
Doesn't that just kind of feel like a if you can't beat them, then join them sort of thing?
Well, the other thing that gets confusing is like, okay, so we have Gyphins that just came out, and the amount of money you made per hour there was like 950 mil. You're making crazy money. Now, Tongrad Belts drop, Tongrad Necks drop, Forest Furies drop, Corrupted Crystals drop, and all of a sudden the spot is worth a lot less. So the thing about PA is that they are not very good at continuously monitoring grind spots and seeing how the effect on the economy is playing a role in how good that spot is. Kratuga is dead. Like the fact that Elcars are 130 mil, the only thing that was keeping Kratuga keeping going is the fact that the prices of Elcars were really good and you could get a 330 mil payout every single time you got one of those. But now the spot is just so trashed here. And the fact is they're going to do nothing about it ever. And so if we put in RBF rewards that are contingent on marketplace prices and all of a sudden it becomes popular and then, you know, it starts pushing the prices down, we're never going to get an RBF revamp on rewards ever again. If this ever comes into the game, which is a miracle in the first place, you can guarantee that it's never going to be looked at again.
I have one critique over this. Can you rename those places as the first sword of the
First sword of Shanghun.
yeah,
Valencia?
These first player reward needs a title, man. You didn't put titles in there.
I want to be
Yeah.
called the
Oh.
first sword of Valencia.
I still think I want to push back against the silver thing though, because I feel like the fact that Orcs is pumping in so much silver into BDO's economy could possibly be maybe not solved, but partially dealt with if there were more avenues of obtaining actual items and materials. I think that Orcs pumping so much silver into the economy wouldn't be as much of a problem if there were more ways of getting like accessories and enhancing materials and things of that nature. And so if you took something like this RBF rewards and you converted this silver amount into some sort of like item based rewards, I think that it would help deal with the problem that is Orcs right now. And I still think Orcs should be nerfed. It's too much money. It's too much silver per hour, but I think that it would help deal with that quite a bit.
Yeah,
actually.
Ideally, it would be cool to cut the silver exactly in half and then have like players be able to choose between like cron stones, dust, things that kind of have stood the test of time. Although those are like the only two things I can think of that
Yeah,
have stood
you
the
know,
test of
I
time.
was
Rewards
waiting
for
for more.
Caphras, rewards for Krons.
Crons would be
Like,
so
those are-
nice, man. Like just to alleviate the incessant need for ordering costumes, which is just like the most awful system in my opinion. It would be nice to be able to like slowly build up Cron stones over time, doing something in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that could be an interesting thing because that actually incentivizes people that do want to enhance their gear. Like, let's say you're a new player and you want to enhance a pen Beg's glove, and you're like, okay, I need 460 crons. If I can go into RBF and I can do 13 RBFs and that equals one pen Beg click, then I don't know. That could be something. That could be something that people would be motivated to do RBFs for, and that would also help a lot of the EU problems that they cannot get cron stones as easily. So maybe I mean, even if they made it where it's like everybody needs crons. So even if they made it where it's half of the reward is like instead of 230 mil, you get like 100 crons and then 130 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
something like that.
God,
could
that'd be
work.
sick. That would be cool. I mean, I like it. Except the argument that was presented to me when I was arguing for something like this, or just arenas that also have something like this, is does it not destroy the very fabric of this game? The foundation it was built on is just PvE, is it not, Choice?
So the thing is that you can PvE in the game and you can still come out better than if you go into this RBF. So the base reward is 50 mil. And right off the bat, seasoned players can make at least like 200 mil per hour on loot scrolls going to sulfur. So even if you are a brand new player, you still can make better money grinding. And even as an end game player, the majority of people, like let's say that you are a 650 gear score player. If you went into RBF as that type of a player, you're probably going to hit. Maybe you'll be in the top 15. You'll probably be in the top 10, I'd say. By being a top 10 player, you're still only making 122 mil times 3 in a perfect situation where you win every single time. And so grinding is still going to be highly worthwhile because people can grind for 450 mil, 500 mil an hour when they're at 650 gear score. Whereas their reward for this RBF is going to definitely be lesser. And the whole point here is that all of these rewards are lesser than if you just go out and grind. However, you are being actually like I would take a 200, 300 mil pay cut a lot more often if I could PvP instead of have to grind. And the whole point is not to surpass grinding and make it
Right.
where the open world is no longer something that people go to. But the idea is to, at least give it an avenue where players like Reslar who just want to go in and PvP and do objective-based PvP, and they want to be able to sort of progress their gear and also feel like you're rewarded for progressing your gear. The more gear, the stronger you are, the more kills, the more you're able to capture points, the more money you're going to make. So it scales just like grinding. So that's why I think this would be a really good implementation.
What's the average here? Like, what do you suspect an average player? Let's say, I don't know, is this first through whatever based on all 60 players in the RBF or the 30 on their team?
30 on the team.
Okay.
So there's
so
a
he
winners
has it
bracket.
separated by winners and losers. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're in the winners bracket, you get bonus rewards for being in the top 15. If you're in the losers bracket, you get bonus rewards for being in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is like the average you'd make, would you say, in an hour then?
Well, that depends. Are you a Sork or a Musa, or are you like a Suck Nova?
I mean, I was just told this morning, first thing when I started streaming, is that they shouldn't have nerfed Musa, that they took all its damage away, and now Zerkers are running rampant, and they should revert the nerf. So, Musas can't do anything. Choice, I don't know what you're talking about.
Interesting. Okay. So then, I guess if you were a Sork, then you'd probably, you'd earn the full 690 mil an hour, and you'd learn the whole 690 mil because you'd win every time and you get first every time. But if you're a Musa, you'd probably just get like the 35 mil every 3. You'd probably just get 105 mil every hour.
But the thing is, the Sorc also has to compete with all the other Sorcs, so they aren't guaranteed to win.
That is true. Yep. So that's where the gear score comes into play, right? That scalability. If
They
you're
just,
a
they just
700
they just iframe the loss, and they end up in the winners bracket.
Oh yeah.
So,
but anyway, I'm not sure exactly what the average would be because, I think the average victor, obviously, would be getting 15th because that's exactly in the middle. So they'd be getting 84 mil. Wait, no, 184 mil if they win all 3 of their matches, or all,
I think
184 mil an hour,
right? 186.
Yeah, 186.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas that's not even guaranteed, right? Like on average, you're going to, let's say that each round, let's just make the math easy. Most RBFs are 15 minutes because point cap reaches. So that means you're doing 4 rounds, right? So let's say that you're an average player, you're doing 4 rounds, which means that you're in 75% of matches as a victor, which means that you're going to be getting 46 mil twice. And then you're going to be getting 35 mil twice. So that would be 46.5 times 2, and then you'd be getting 70 equals, you'd be getting 163 mil an hour, pretty much guaranteed as an average player.
Right. Which is pretty good and fair.
Not
And
bad.
like people would be able to live with that. That's what I'm saying.
That would actually be, something that would make a lot of players happy.
But even if you just went in and you had no gear, basically the lowest amount you could ever make in an hour is 105 mil. And realistically, you're probably going to make 100 and wait.
Yeah, if you have no gear, you
just
hop on a trial, pop drafts and perfumes, and you could easily be in the middle.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, the low end would be 105 mil. And I figure for, players of such stature as yourself, Frosty, you're probably going to be making, if you get first place every single time, which.
Maybe I would, because I am an objective player.
Yeah.
All right, I capture the points.
And you win every time, right? So 690 mil. And also the other thing is this is plus seals. So I guess I can't put a plus. But anyway, it also RBF seals too, because those are a thing. So you'd get 230 mil plus whatever Victor RBF seals are currently in the game. What do you get, 10 or something?
I don't win that much, by the way. I have Lane Kiffin on a busted ass Valk that moves too fast against me all the time. So I end up getting screwed that way. You know how it is. You probably haven't seen him because he zips around. It's hard to see. But
well, let's say that you're a 4th place type of player, and for the most part, you're in 75% of the matches. And you're in 75% of the matches. This means that you're going to get 145 mil times 2. So let's just round it off to 300 mil plus another 137 times 2, or no, 111 times 2. So you're going to be making about 500 and, let's just say 500 mil an hour about, minus whatever input costs. So whatever drafts you use, or whatever villa buffs, or whatever else you get.
That would be really, really, really good.
How much do you make grinding right now, Frosty?
I mean, if I'm at Orcs and I'm actually trying hard and popping all my buffs, it's like 800 mil, 850 an hour with a yellow.
Okay.
Or if I'm at Secrea, like between 400 and 500.
With a yellow?
No, with the blue.
With a blue. Okay.
I don't grind yellow. It's Secrea, we don't have unlimited loot scrolls out here.
All right. So, to earn 500 mil from an RBF and like from RBFs in an hour, like that'd be pretty damn good for you.
Yeah, it'd be hard. I mean, it'd be hard to actually even outpace the Secrea just because eventually you're going to get on a team where you're stuck in your base or whatever, like some random imbalanced team where your whole team is just getting farmed and it's like you end up in 1v5s and it just doesn't work out. So yeah, I like the idea a lot. Here's my question. Would this, let's say hypothetically speaking, they do release a 3v3 and or a 1v1 arena that's just basic, they don't add any crazy weird shit to it, would this system work and or be applicable to arenas?
Yeah, so arenas would be a tougher one because now it's not a team-based thing. It's now, a lot smaller of a scale. And so unless the teams could be like guaranteed randomized, it'd be really hard to reward that type of activity because there's a lot more room for abuse.
Well, it's like
Right.
Lost Ark is, pub based.
Well, I assume BDO, I guess I don't know what BDO would end up being, but
yeah, I don't even think the devs really know what BDO is going to end up being.
I imagine because of the amount of money you can make grinding and life skilling, and potentially if this version of RBF existed, just having like a reduced version of this system would be fine. Where you math it out and it nets you, maybe if you're just nothing but winning for a full hour, you're making 340 mil. And then if you're just losing the whole time, you're making like 75 or something like that, Where it's just not, it's not quite as significant. But it doesn't promote some sort of abuse as much, because if you really want to just make money, you just go grind for 5 times that or 3 times that,
Yep. Yeah. So can you guys think of any ways that people could abuse this? Because that's always the thing about, you guys are talking about PvP being rewarding, but then getting abused. You said castles, right? People will trade castles back and forth. Everything's all scripted. People literally trade node war rewards. Like people let people keep tier 4s. Like anything that's rewarding in this game so far is very much abused. But I think that having the thing where it's like how many players at the end of the match means that's going to stop people from like boosting, where you go in with a small number of players and try to give everybody the best rewards. Because let's say that, for example, you try to boost this, right? First place player reward is at the end of the match is 60 people, but let's say you're boosting and there's only 2 people on either side. Well, now your first place reward goes down to 62 mil, which at that case, the base reward for a regular RBF is already 50. So what are you boosting? 12 mil for that RBF?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's like very unabusable. And then the same thing with people that are joining every 10 minutes. If you're only in there for 50% of the match, then you get 50% of the reward. So that prevents people from that too.
Well,
yeah.
I always
The first
Go
thing,
ahead.
the first thing that came to my mind about what was abusable with this would be, I thought back to the old Modern Warfare 2 days, back in the olden times when people would, they would get their friend on the enemy team and they would just like kill them over and over again for EXP. Especially on something like Valencia RBF where there's corners that people never really go to. I would say maybe there's something you can add where if you keep killing the same person like over and over and over again without maybe killing other people in between, it's like not worth a point anymore at a certain point. Like maybe if you kill the same person 3 times in a row and then you kill them a 4th time, that 4th time doesn't actually give you a point or something like that.
I do wonder.
Or
Go ahead, Nashi.
to kind of expand on that, Rosler, I like the idea. Maybe kind of treat it like how League does it. Like if you continually kill the same person that hasn't killed someone themselves, then they just continuously lose their effectiveness on giving you gold, for example, in League's case. But in this case, it would be like point value for your for where you are. So if they kill someone and whatnot, this would at least make it so that that they aren't necessarily just inting because they're bad. They just maybe are having a bad matchup versus you per se, and you just keep running into them, because there might be scenarios where you would run into them multiple times.
I do wonder if this would be abused. Because, let's say that happens, right? If somebody goes and they're friends in the enemy team and you're like, hey man, do you want to feed me kills for an hour so that way there I can make less money than grinding and you make literally nothing?
Yeah, see, it's not.
you know,
There's not really a good incentive for everybody.
right, because there's always going to be the player on the other end, right? That player's making 105 mil an hour, and you're making 600 mil an hour, but you both could have just went out and grinded, and you
Right.
collectively would have made more.
But people do that, man. I'm telling. Like, did you not play Call of Duty back in the day? Like, people definitely do that. They're like, yeah, I don't mind just like getting shot in the head like for an hour so that you can, get this whatever you need.
But that's
Like,
the thing.
that
It's like
definitely
in that
happens.
situation, though, why wouldn't you just go run a fucking Suck Nova or a Tamer on a tower? You know what I mean? Like in that situation, it's not that beneficial, so there's not really any point in doing it. You could do it, and there will probably be people doing it, but it's like so inefficient that you don't need to do it. Like you can do. This is why, Choice, like when you said that, those examples that I used earlier in the show, that's me pushing back. I actually can't stand the whole, well, it'll be exploited, so just don't do it, because it's like everything is fucking exploited. So leaving out content that a bunch of people want and don't want to exploit and actually just want to do for fun and get rewards for because it's potentially exploitable is the lamest excuse ever, since everything is exploitable in this game. Like there's no cap on grinding mobs. There's no like someone watching you. There's no security on like how you're doing it or where you're doing it or what you're doing. So it's like, dude, if you're actually going to exploit in a system like this, where it's like at absolute best rate, you're getting 600 mil an hour, why wouldn't you just go exploit at a grind spot or somewhere where you make a significant amount more? It's never made any sense to me to just not allow content because of potential exploits. Obviously, you want to try to avoid them as much as possible, but to just be like, nah, we're not implementing it because it might be abused. And like with the arenas too, it's like, well, people could win trade, and it's like, okay, then put systems in place that kind of help prevent it a little bit and make it like not that efficient to do. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
for the record, I'm not saying this to say don't implement.
Yeah, no, I know you're not. I'm just making a point.
Other people say things like that.
Yeah, and first and foremost for this stuff, Choice, they really need to fix the queuing aspects. Like the fact that you could queue up for any Battlefield and it's just for some reason lopsided for like the first couple minutes doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't understand why they still haven't figured out a queue system that actually functions properly.
Well, hopefully their new ranked arena queue system will be good, and
well, if it's MMR based, I mean, it's going to put you against people that are winning around the same amount as you, right? Like that's typically the whole point of MMR elo is to keep you normally around a 50% win rate, and then you end up against people that are about winning about the same as you. So it almost like works itself out in a way. But with RBF, there's obviously no ranking, so it's just completely random.
Yeah, but not only is it random, it's just like which side do you put on is seemingly random, and it just ends up for some reason being lopsided majority of the time.
I think that RBF could definitely benefit from that type of an MMR system where even if it's not explicitly shown, right? Like let's say that, for example, someone like Frosty, right? Your win rate's probably at least like 90% of your RBFs, right? So, if you would get matched up with somebody that only wins maybe 10% of their RBFs, and that way they're kind of, the matchmaking system sort of sorts itself out a little bit. Instead of just being like, oh, this team has 15 people and this team has 14 people. I guess we put them on the team with 14. Like, even though the 14 people could be like all 700 gear score and the 15 people could all be seasonal characters, like, or I guess, not seasonals, but low gear score players, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, it doesn't take into account gear score. It doesn't take into account win rate. It doesn't take anything other than 14 is less than 15. And that's what makes it so imbalanced.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it even does that. I'm pretty confident it doesn't even take into account when people leave, and it just puts one person on each team one at a time.
Maybe. Dude, the thing is that's always been baffling about that is they had a system on Global Labs for a while and then just abandoned it. And the idea of it was pretty cool. It was sort of like a one. So it would take the highest geared person, they would be on team A, and then the next highest geared person would be on team B, and the next highest geared person after that would be on team B, and then the fourth highest person would be on team A, and then from that point just back and forth for the rest of the way down, which is exactly how team battle that's already in our game works. So it's very odd that they don't just do that. And then obviously at a point, like after, if you do the first 10 or 12, you know, people leave or come back, like you can't just do it forever. So at some point you have to just let people in, but at least have started off feeling somewhat balanced and then go from there. I don't know. It's like very weird that they don't do anything to prevent that sort of thing. Now I don't run into it as much as like Nyashi is saying. Like, I don't think an overwhelming majority of the matches are completely one-sided.
It's usually just the first couple of minutes you notice it like really harshly, you know? You and your 4 other players on your team versus like the 10 for some reason initially for the first couple of minutes. You're just like, what the fuck? And then you have to wait like 5-10 minutes in order for it to like actually even out properly. And it's just like by that point, the game's kind of like almost set and done, you know? Like you already know the outcome because the other team just literally had such a huge advantage. They took control of all the points initially. I know they implemented systems to kind of help.
Yeah, the new system definitely makes this easier to come back.
Yeah, I know they did that, and it does help. But it's like, why even have the problem in the first place? Just have a better queue up system that accounts for the player count a little bit better. And they like that's been an issue for years, ever since RBF was introduced. You know, it's not like a new thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a separate issue from Choice's topic.
Anyway, I like this system. Is it abusable? Maybe, but you'd have to like kind of correct it and see what people come up with.
I think people will be, even if it was abusable, I think people will be far more accepting of this than what currently is going on.
Yeah, the current rewards feel really bad. And I also I'm a little bit weary on the raw silver stuff too, but the problem is like over time materials are not like, you don't want to you can't put an accessory in there because then that accessory is just going to tank.
Yeah, and then your value for what you get is awful.
Yeah.
Or if they introduce a new region and then all of a sudden all those accessories are no longer the top tier and not as viable anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All those situations are possible. At least with the silver, you can easily increment that based on, you know, the current market.
Choice, before we move on to the comments, what's your opinion on the Gyfin changes in Global Labs?
Yeah. So from what I understand, it seems like they're making it where while the mobs are sort of waking up, like after you hit them, they will take a lot of reduced damage, and then you also can't double pull anymore. Is that pretty much the majority of the big changes?
That's how I understand it as well.
Yeah, so for me, I do the double pulls about 66% of the time because I can't do it on one of the statues that I like to farm at, and I kill the guard and the purple dude almost before they even do their first attack. Like the purple guy's dead before he does his first attack. The blue guy does one swipe and he's dead. And so for me, it's going to be a pretty massive nerf. Like depending on how tanky they make them, if they make them as tanky as the killing one without a buff, like that's probably what they would do. Then I think that the spot is pretty much going to be significantly worse than what Orcs in Bloody Monastery is at. And for a spot that actually is going to require a lot of gear score, it requires a lot more attention, and it can, you can die there. I feel that the change is pretty unjustified. I would I understand the double pulling thing. That's obviously a bug, and there's definitely classes that cannot partake. So nerfing that is a good thing. But to then go ahead and nerf the amount of damage they do in the wake up phase, when in reality they should have just made the wake up phase faster, is probably stupid. Because, yeah, why does it take 8 seconds for the Flamen to wake up? How come that's my problem now? Like just because I have so much just because I have the damage, right, to kill him in those 8 seconds, why am I being punished for that? And because I'm being punished for that, it just means that now the spot's just dead because I'm not gonna go and grind there for 600 mil an hour. I'm just gonna go somewhere I can make 800 mil an hour.
Which leads me to my follow-up. Do you think Orcs and Bloody are too good? And if you could make a change, would you bring every other spot up? Or do you think that that spot needs to be brought down or something changed with the spot at all? Those two spots. I Orcs more so than Bloody, but...
Yeah, I don't think Orcs and Bloody should be brought down for a very basic reason is the ship is sailed and it would be unfair to players that put in 500 hours of Orcs at an inflated level to then all of a sudden nerf it down by a lot and then those players just reap those benefits straight up. So it would have been it pretty much has to be where they have to bring up all the other spots so that way it's just not it's just fair for everybody and not unfair that this person made so much money at Orcs over their 500 hours and now you make 20 or 30% less for your 500 hours post nerf.
See, I don't feel that strongly that it has to be that way because like I don't know, like it wasn't really, and I know it's a totally different thing, but that didn't really happen with like sea monster hunting. They didn't just like bring everything up, they just nerfed it. And while yes that was unfair, it was like after a few months it was like you get it. And I'm not even saying like Orcs needs to be brought down. Let's just say it's 850 mil an hour, right? I'm not saying it needs to be brought down to 500. I'm just saying like, isn't it reasonable to make it 690 or 700 where it's still really, really good? Like arguably, I mean, it could still even be the best spot, but does it have to be the best by the margin that it's the best currently?
Yeah, that's true. Your sea monster hunting example is certainly true, but I mean, I guess this is another sea monster hunting situation where they left it unchecked for too long.
For so long. Oh, and they
like
buffed it twice after it came out. It doesn't even make any sense. They made it better. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them moving it down, and when they do move it down, then the price of accessories and all other things would likely fall. Not significantly, but
right.
There would be an effect because the more silver pumped into the economy means the more everything costs in general. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that to answer your question, whether it's nerfing the spot or whether it's buffing all other spots, I think it's a lot easier just to nerf the spot because it's one spot. So yeah, I think that it does need to be addressed. And I think that they should just rework the spot. Like I don't think that the spot should be that much raw silver. Just add in something else. Add in some other thing that's just not raw silver. And even Bloody Monastery, like that's still, I mean, it's not as bad because the price of lunar necks can go down. Like Bloody Monastery became really bad money when lunar necks were like 120 mil, and now they're 200 or probably, I don't know, I haven't looked at the price in a while, but 200 mil makes the spot actually competing with Bloody or Orcs, I mean. So
right. And lastly, are you surprised that after the Lon, Musa, and Maewon nerfs, that we've gotten no significant balance changes since then, which is now what, over a month?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 2 months now actually since the reworks have been out, and the fact that we only see one change is pretty crazy. You know, they pretty much just lied because they did say they were going to be closely monitoring everything and making regular changes, and we did not see anything other than that one. So
yeah, because range damage is perfectly fine as is. Zerkers are they're balanced, right?
Yep.
Seems to be what they're implying.
Yeah, it's
maybe that is what they're implying. maybe the balancers think that the game does not require more changes, and
well, then I would hope they would come out and say that we're basically done with the changes, and then they could see the feedback after that, which is going to be, not positive.
I think they've fallen. I think they've fallen into the trap of there's this new gear coming out soon with artifacts, and we don't want to like make any big changes before we see what the effects of that are. That's honestly what I think is happening.
That could be.
Artifacts? That's not going to have that kind of impact.
All right.
Another potential thing is that because they apparently shifted so many devs onto the reworks from other projects, and now people are saying, where's our content? They might have switched all those people onto, I don't know, doing other stuff so that we can actually get some content. Very small little balancing team that's left over, if any, is just not able to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think it's so weird that the same guy that's drawing the animations for new content in the new region over by Port Rat is also the guy that decided Flash Slash should be an iframe twice in a row with no stamina cost. It's odd to me, but I guess that's how it is.
I want to believe it's not that way. Like they have hundreds of devs, but I don't know why.
Yeah, you
would
actually
say
been
that.
on site, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they said in their report, their yearly report, that didn't they have like 200 or 400 or something? It was like
It's
hundreds
a lot,
of devs.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. And I can't remember if that was just solely for BDO or not even. I have to look at that report again.
Oh my god, they're sending all the balanced devs to Doki V.
Weren't you on a didn't you get to do a coding clinic with them? Didn't you create one of the pets choice while you were out there?
No, I wasn't even allowed past the glass doors. I just got to see the common areas.
That's
just in case something secret happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you see them acting out the balance changes with costumes in IRL, and you're like, wait a minute. What's going on?
I saw one of the devs IRL acting out how desync was to Jay. So
Oh my god.
Yeah. You'd probably see just 120 people full-time working on making Dark Knight wax figurines. That's what's actually going on over there.
Probably.
It's just $800 a pop, dude. That's where all the money is.
Yeah, I can't lie though. If they made a Zerker one, god damn.
Dude, I'd buy one in a second.
I would take a Raid Shadow Legend sponsorship for sure.
All right, Choice. What do you respond to this type of response? This guy Sabsy says they have like 5 people on BDO. This guy thinks there are hundreds of people on BDO. Is that why you have no content for 2+ years now? The dumb shit Choice says, LOL.
I kind of zoned out. What did you say?
The thing is like, I don't know why. Like, I get we're in a little bit of a content drought, but like to say we've gotten nothing for 2 years is just dumb.
It's just factually.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff we gotten.
Yeah.
Tons.
It's just dumb. Yeah, it's weird.
But I think that the fair comment is the gameplay loop of BDO has not changed very much in 2 years.
Yes.
That is true. You're still doing the same shit.
Right. So when people make that comment, I think that's what they're referring to is that, hey, 2 years ago, I was making laps at a grind spot. 2 years later, I'm making laps at a grind spot. So I think that is a fair statement. And that is why I think that BDO needs a pretty big overhaul in what that gameplay loop is. I think that there should be a lot more variety in things that people are able to do. And part of that is why this, RBF reward system would be nice. You can BP for a couple hours, you can grind for a couple hours, you can do your dungeon, you can hit up some life skilling, like
you can
different variety of ways to make similar money instead of just one thing being the best always.
Yeah. I mean, none of what they do will ever compete with Orcs, but yeah, I agree.
I think if BDO had like a Guardian raid or an Abyssal type system, I think that would be so much fucking fun.
Well, I
Maybe
don't
I'm
see
just
how
projecting Lost Ark onto it.
No, well, I see. For me, now I've done both. I don't see that much of a difference, at least between our current abyssals and the current dungeons in BDO. It's literally the same thing. You run through, kill the mobs, and then go do 2 bosses with mechanics. It's like literally the same thing.
That's fair.
Yeah. Now, should it have more of it? Maybe. I mean, see, that's the thing. It's
I guess the problem is it's easy to jump into abyssal dungeons and whatnot because it's kind of like a requirement as far as your daily or your in this and abyssal's part, it's weekly, but like guardian raids and abyssal dungeons is part of your like gathering of materials and whatnot, so it's kind of necessary. And then of course you can just easily do the matchmaking and it'll pair you up with a group to go and do it. I think that's what makes it.
Hold on, I gotta push back on a couple things. So one, Alpha's saying it's the same except one gives decent rewards. I don't know which one you're referring to, but abyssal dungeon rewards are all right so far in our game. The dungeon rewards in BDO are actually like good. It's like literally more efficient than grinding if you just run the 2 dungeons back to back with a good group. And then Etsu said easy mechanics, which is like, sure now, but people were complaining that it was way too fucking hard for the first 3 weeks when both dungeons released, that this is way too hard. No one's going to be able to do it. This is not possible. So yes, when you only have 2 dungeons, they feel incredibly easy, right? Because it's like after a couple weeks, you just have it memorized and it's just mechanics. You just got to know the mechanics. But like, I mean, the same thing is going on right now in Lost Ark, at least for me. Like all of those abyssal raids, they were like, oh my God, this is so hard. And then I did it twice, and it's like, oh my God, this is so stupid easy, and it's like brain dead.
Yeah, and then you get super frustrated with some fucking new guy comes in and fucks everything up 5 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, when Sikrakia came out, people were like tilted. Like it was like, this is way too hard. And yeah, it's RNG to get an amazing reward, but the baseline reward, even if you get a base accessory plus all of the other materials you get, especially like what choice, a group now does both dungeons in 1 hour, right? And now they're adding Lightstones to it. Like the baseline reward is like at absolute worst, like 320 mil for 30 minutes of work. And then on the second dungeon, I guess you could argue maybe if you get like an ethereal, it's only like 310 mil. But on average, like if you do it every week, you're getting way more than that. Like way more than that. So, and that's like 600 and whatever, like the worst. If you get the absolute worst RNG, base drop, nothing good, you're getting like 600 mil in 1 hour. So I don't know. I don't think the rewards are that bad. It's just you need to do it efficiently is all. In fact, I think they're ridiculously good. Am I crazy? Like Choice, are the rewards bad?
No, they're not bad.
The
no,
normal
right.
ones,
the baseline rewards.
The normal
but
ones are bad for normal difficulty. Those rewards are bad, or at least kind of bad.
Yeah. So I will say my dungeon experience is pretty. Like if I go with a really good party that one shots it, the rewards are really good. But a lot of the time, my group will go with like 3 static people, and then we'll get a couple pickup people. And sometimes it can feel really bad because, you fail the final boss a lot for the part 2 dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that regard, you're not making the best of money, but you're still having a more fun time than you would be grinding because, you poke fun at people for not seeing the flashing fish or whatever.
Right.
And so, I don't know. I really like the dungeons. I think that there's a lot of people that have not tried them or not given them a fair chance or just saw what they were all about and really just don't want the hassle of having to get a party or get a static group. And that's a fair criticism. And that sort of stems from a couple reasons is like you have to have Agris and not everybody is going to have Agris whenever you just hit them up, right? Like a lot of people use their Agris. And so you have to have this as something that you have to remember to have, or just have to, be lucky the person you message has it if you're trying to get an extra person. And the second thing is like, since it is weekly lockout content, a lot of people that are interested in the dungeon already have that static. And therefore it's hard to get a team going because people have already done it. It's a once a week thing. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah.
huge fan of weekly lockout content. If the dungeon was something that you could run several times a week, or more often than once, even if it was even more often than twice, which is they kind of made some changes to make it twice, it would make that pool of players a lot bigger, because now you could be like, hey, want to do the dungeon? And somebody that already has a static knows that, hey, I could just run the dungeon right now and make good rewards. And
Maybe
so, yeah.
maybe if you incorporate a rest gauge, that.
I have I gotta, sorry. So there's obviously choice, and I'm sure on your stream you get this all the time, parallels to Lost Ark and people comparing the two because Lost Ark is brand new. And I love Lost Ark, so I am sad that I keep being put in a position to where I have to defend BDO and seemingly bash Lost Ark, but I don't mean to do it. So Mocker's saying the thing about BDO is that in Lost Ark so far it feels really good. You could just do like 10 to 15 minute content and it feels really meaningful. Except that if you pug it or if you go with a group, you don't do 10 to 15 minute content. I find it interesting that in BDO, kind of what you said, Choice, that it feels really bad when you fail that last boss 2 or 3 times, because the essence of BDO is like efficiency, 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 right? But in Lost Ark, we literally had multiple times now where we spent 3 or 4 hours doing a dungeon or a raid and just never finished it and walked away and made nothing. We got nothing. We got no reward. We didn't complete it. We just walked out. We got nothing. It was completely inefficient and we got no reward, no pity reward, nothing. We walked away with 0. Zip. Actually, we lost money because potions are expensive in that game. So there's also that. And then the other thing too is we don't need a matchmaking system because we have, or a party finder. We have a party finder. What we need, or what people I think want, is more of a traditional matchmaking system to queue up. But the problem is the dungeons in BDO, the normal one, isn't good enough to do a public queue where the rewards are worth it. And then the hard one is too hard to match up with just random people because you're probably going to fail, at least in the second dungeon. So if we had a traditional matchmaking system, I think is more what people mean they want, because we actually do just have this party finding ad system, which works literally the same as the Lost Ark one. But we don't have matchmaking where it just automatically queues you into other people that are queued, which I guess would be really nice for the dungeon. But the thing is with the whole oh, well, it's meaningful in this game and it's not in this game. It's again, if you do it efficiently, it is actually good money in BDO. And if you fail it miserably, it's bad money in BDO. But if you fail it miserably in Lost Ark, it's also really, really bad. And I've been there a bunch of times where we fit and it's tilting as fuck. And you just leave God damn, I just wasted 3 hours. I got nothing. So
it's very tilting.
Yeah, it's definitely the same in both. I don't know. It's
and it's always because it's one fucking player. They just can't get their shit right. Or someone DCs because you can't just get a filler to come in.
Dude, you can't. What is that? This is the first game I've ever seen. Lost Ark is the first MMO I've ever played where it doesn't replace people that disconnected. You're just fucked.
Yep, you have to start over again. I've had that happen 3 or 4 times when I was trying to do the Alaric dungeon. It's just I was stuck on that dungeon for days because either I'm working with monkeys or there's DCs.
Yeah.
It's the mechanics are so freaking easy and they just weren't fucking performing. And then you finally get a group that's working and someone DCs and they don't come back. And it's just well, let's start again.
Right. Yeah, and Mocker and Zelen, what you guys are saying, that's definitely true until higher tier 3 or higher even late tier 2. A chaos dungeon doesn't get, dude, I do both my chaos dungeons now in tier 3. It doesn't even get me one single enhancement attempt. It literally gets me nothing. So yeah, the chaos dungeons definitely start losing their value. I actually can't do a single attempt off of 2 chaos dungeons anymore. Go ahead, Choice.
Here's what I would like to say about Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Is everybody needs to do a little self-check on themselves here and realize that when you are a brand new player in a brand new game, everything comes really fast. It feels like you spend 15 minutes in a game and you're holy crap, I just got this much done and wow, my progression is going so fast.
Yep.
a lot of people are comparing BDO endgame, being like, oh, I need to grind an hour to make any sort of money that matters. Whereas if you were a brand new 1 hour player in BDO, you would feel like you're flying through the progression.
Yep.
And so you guys are a bunch of Lost Ark noobs in a brand new game where the progression is supposed to be fast and rewarding, so it
Exactly.
can reward everyone's little monkey brain that wants to have progression, progression, progression. I want dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. That's how games get you addicted, is that fast progression in the beginning. And then once you're addicted, you're chasing that high, but the high comes farther away because now you're end game. So everybody needs to like realize that every game has this glory phase where you are starting the game as a new player. There's so much to do and everything feels so new and everything feels so different and everyone's getting so much gear so fast and everything's cool and exciting and new. Talk to me in 2 years after you've been playing Lost Ark for 2 years. You'll probably be complaining about some bullshit about
Yep.
Lost Ark in 2
No,
years.
for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. Maybe in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I like, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was saying, like, I actually really I'm enjoying Lost Ark way more than I thought I would. But I all of this list of issues, these list of complaints that people have for BDO, that's like, well, thank God Lost Ark doesn't have this, and thank God Lost Ark doesn't have this. The more and more I play, the more and more I find, oh, like, it does have this. It does do this. It does pull you down in this way. It does make you want to pay to win. It does make you feel stuck. It does feel bad when you fail enhancements. Like that was like my big one early on in the show. It's like, oh, the enhancement system BDO is what made me want to quit. It feels so bad. And then I'm sitting there, dude, half my friend group's like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna log on today because that feeling of failing sucks and I'm stuck. You know, and it's just
I
like
hate comments. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Night Riot in your chat, I hate comments like the difference is BDO has digression. Buy your gear. BDO
Yes.
has no digression.
Zero.
None.
Yep.
Zero.
You don't ever have to go
You
down.
can constantly make progress in this game all the way up until the 730 gear scroll you'll never reach because you're a fucking casual. You can buy everything that you could ever upgrade unless it's a Deboreka, which you don't even need. So stop enhancing and just buy your shit.
Yeah, exactly. And even
when you say casual, I felt that in my soul.
The thing with the downgrade thing too is that it's funny because it's just kind of like how it's viewed, like the way it actually works and the way it makes you feel. But you can use a backup item is the first thing. So your actual gear doesn't get downgraded because you should basically never be enhancing your normal gear that could go down. You almost always in the history of BDO, we've used a backup or promoted like you should have a backup piece. Otherwise you're inting. But the other thing is like, yeah, if I fail a TED attempt on an armor, I get, it goes down, right? It goes down to duo. But it is incredibly cheap to go for duo and pry and try. Like those initial parts are so cheap that it's not that impactful. It's a totally different experience where, yes, in Lost Ark, your gear doesn't downgrade, but you're now completely out of materials with no resource to gain new materials unless you pay actual cash. So you literally just sit there and look at and just know like today is over. Tomorrow we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Even the argument of, well, somebody's got to do the enhancing. Get it from Salt, get it from Biohack, get it from people that enhance for money and accidentally hit pens on stuff or are literally making pen accessories for you to buy. There's always going to be there's always going to be a flow of people that are either quitting the game and are just tapping their stuff and going to hit it and sell it on the market, or there's going to be people that are enhancing for profit because they do it in an efficient way and they don't have a fragile mental where they blow up their duo ogre ring and they fucking freak out about it. So you can buy your gear and there will always be stuff on the market for you to buy. And it's just such a poor excuse. It's no excuse at all.
I have a fragile mental. I can't handle it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing too. And even then, it's like for every person that doesn't like the enhancement system, there's some that do. I'm one of these people that have always kind of split my progression in BDO half and half, where some of my stuff is bought and some of it is enhanced, because I know if I full focus on one or the other, I would get burnt out. And there's a lot of people that are like that, and there's so much stuff that I've sold or I've changed gear and had to resell. Like, yeah, someone has to enhance. You're not wrong. But there's a lot of people that actually like the enhancement system or actually are okay with dealing with the enhancement system.
Yep.
It's
Let
not
them enhance.
completely universal that everyone hates it. And the
Yeah,
enhancement system is unique in this game that it kind of makes like the entire economy go in a circle in a weird way. Like everything kind of like goes in and out. Like you make, I don't know, BDO has this weird way of making materials that should not be worth anything actually still have value, like Akum armors and stuff for fail stacking, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And the people that are saying like nobody sells pen black stars, you don't need a pen black star. You can just Caphras a Zarka to C20. You will be stronger with that weapon in PvP than the black star. And wow, you're making 20 mil less an hour because you don't have a black star versus a Zarka. And that's probably an over exaggeration. The difference between a black star and a Zarka is so minuscule. Like the difference that I noticed from having double black star versus no black stars is legitimately such a small amount of the overall money per hour that you're actually earning that it's negligible unless you are just this really hardcore PvE player that's like, I can't stand not having this extra monster damage.
But do you
I
glow
don't know.
red?
Even then, you on some classes you get your pet capped anyway, so it doesn't even matter if you have a black star.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, and when you go and grind the best spot in the game, you're going to get a bunch of weapons, right, from orcs, and your black star actually has no value
Yeah.
for half the time.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that's always been my thing too, Choice. It's like, yeah, there's definitely, I'm not saying the BDO system is perfect. It's just like, it's actually been an amazing experience going through Lost Ark just because I had 2 years of people telling me like, dude, it's great because it has no pay to win. It's awesome because the enhancement system is so rewarding. The game does nothing but respect your time. It hard promotes alts. And then like now when I'm like see through the cracks, like all of those things are untrue to some extent for some reason. There's like a lot of that stuff is like, I can tear down a lot of that stuff because it's not completely true. It's just like if you're hyped about the game, it's typically either people that are overly hyped about Lost Ark, which it is a great game and it's super fun, and I highly recommend people try it. And Choice, you should be playing it. It's fun as hell. But or it's the people that have decided after playing for 20,000 hours of BDO that they absolutely hate this fucking game and they're gonna do everything they can to promote people to stop playing it. Everyone else in between is just kind of like, whatever. Yeah, seems fun, not for me, don't like top-down view, or yeah, I just got tired of BDO, I played it for a long time, so I'm taking a break, you know, whatever it is. Normal people. Or the weirdos like me, where I thoroughly enjoy both.
Still makes 4 bill a day and gets all this stuff done in Lost Ark. Is that your way of doing things, Frosty?
Of doing what?
Still grinding like 2 to 4 bill a day and then getting all your shit done in Lost Ark?
So the thing is in BDO with the way grinding works now and how much money you make is, so I'm logging in overnight for the rewards, and then I literally could grind 1 hour or 90 minutes to get a bill and then log off.
True.
And because I already like grinded my ass off too, so I don't really.
Yeah, you're at a point in time with your gear where like grinding isn't as essential.
Yeah, I'm not super into Deboreka, that idea, and I'm not super into Tet Fallen God either. So I'm more just waiting for the winter region before I go harder. But yeah, I don't know. And I've always said too, like even at any gear level, man, if you log in, like honestly, persistence is way more important than going 50, 10 hours a day at grinding and burning yourself out. Like if you just do an hour every day and log in for events, you progress. You just progress. Anyway, on that note, should we get to the comments? Rez, you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
How's your back holding up?
My point of view is so skewed. I feel like I couldn't really contribute much to what you guys are talking about.
What do you mean? Why is it skewed?
I just want a PvP.
So do I.
Like I don't all this talk about like I don't know, just everything. I just want a PvP and be rewarded for it. It's really the only thing I'm interested in. And that's what makes it very frustrating for me.
Fair.
But yeah, we can do the comments.
I'll let you guys get to those, but I gotta go. So
All right, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
thanks for
jumping on,
dropping
Choice.
by, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man.
yeah,
We love the
guys. Peace.
system. We hope, if you pass it on to the GMs and whatnot to send to the devs, hopefully they consider something like that.
Yeah, I'll probably drop it in.
Talk to your insider contacts and be like, hey, how about something along these lines?
Make a Reddit post on it too, maybe. I know you get a lot
Yeah,
of trolls, but that
I
gets a
think
lot
I
of
am.
activity.
I'm gonna do a Reddit post about it because I know that it's not a perfect system, so I want the
Yeah.
feedback if anything, and then that way
Yeah.
there I can have a more robust, bunch of
Set
eyes
of
on it. So that way there I can
opinions,
then I can send it to the devs. But yeah,
Cool.
see you guys later. Peace.
Appreciate
Take
you,
it easy,
brother.
man.
All right, let me kill 2 more crocodilians, and then I'll pull up the comments. You want me to do them, right?
Yes, please.
Crocodilians.
What are crocodilians?
Yeah, I'm in the like sand technological place continent now. I forget what this place is called. Pretty sure Frosty skipped right over it in his story review.
No, I covered it when I did the recap, didn't I?
Did you? Maybe you did.
I said something about crocodilians and I'm trying to
Crocodilians.
find the
141. All right, so
you're in the mech region.
yeah, Mech Desert region.
that is the longest quest zone of all.
It
of
is
them.
a pretty long one. I'm not gonna lie,
Is
but
it
it's
really?
pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been
I mean,
enjoying it.
if you're level 50, you're probably. I mean, I don't know. That's a good like 3-hour quest zone or more, maybe.
Yeah,
Depending on how
probably
you quest.
about, yeah.
It's long.
Fair enough.
I got interrupted a lot with family stuff during that particular quest line, but yeah, it's roughly about that.
All right. Here we go. We got Weeabose saying first or am I late? No, appeared to be first, unless somebody deleted their comment. Awkward Ninja says if they can the arenas, they will kill what little faith. Oh, if they can the arenas, like
Yeah.
if they get rid of the arenas, they will kill what little faith people have in the game. Player base already had all eyes on them with the class reworks messing up the second thing on their attempted redemption arc because cut things pretty short. Edit. Oh god, the Lost Ark questing is awful. What the hell?
Yeah. I saw just last night he hit 600, so he's on his way to tier 2.
Nice.
Hey, who was it?
Case, Awkward Ninja.
Oh, gotcha.
Kay says that Reslar 1v2 was sick.
It
I've only gotten
was,
better.
Dude.
It was.
I've only gotten... Dude, I'm actually pretty good at PvPing now. I'm not gonna lie.
On what
I actually
character?
feel pretty confident. A Zerker.
Okay.
I've been leveling a Zerker on East with my guild. That's what I've been putting all my focus on. So pretty good at it. And Zerker, I feel good about Zerker because it's really strong. It's strong enough to where I can handle most things pretty well, but it's not so like overly busted like Deathblade where I feel bad about playing it. So
Well, you showed that class is busted.
it's really not though, dude. You look
Class
at
is busted.
Zerker compared to Deathblade, dude. Deathblade is the most like brainlet like OP class I've ever seen in I think any game ever. Honestly, it's such a free class.
Nah, Paladin. Paladin's worse.
No,
You're
dude,
trolling.
Deathblade
Paladin
is...
can be more impactful on a team, but
Yes.
it's like
And a 1v1?
Deathblade
Oh,
isolating what it
you're
can
talking
do.
about specifically 1v1?
Well, I'm talking more just 3v3 in general. I still think like the Paladin also still requires your teammates to not be trash.
Yeah. I think in a 1v1, it's not even close. Deathblade is way fucking better. I think in a 3v3, they're on a fairly similar playing field, I would say. But
Yeah, I don't think Paladin's not good in 1v1 for people, for the record. I do think it is good, but Deathblade is a whole nother... The thing is with Deathblade that is so special about it is after it lands that initial catch, it's like not... You have to hard CC it. But if you have a melee ranged hard CC, you get CC'd trying to hard CC it, and you have to use a ranged hard CC. It's like the only fucking way. Once they're finally CCable is when they use Moonlight Sonic, which is the very, very end of the combo, when the person that they're comboing has already been fucked anyway.
yeah, like 50% HP. Yeah, it's that class is such like a free win. It's crazy.
It feels like actual Suck Kuno is put in a game where no one has protection. That's how it feels to me, dude. It's crazy.
So you admit Kuno is actually OP as fuck, right?
Well, imagine Kuno compared to like just remove all the protection from every other class in the game, but Kuno stays the exact same.
Yeah,
That's how
imagine you have Suck
awful.
Kuno today versus launch like everyone else, like how everyone was at launch. Like that's basically it.
It's kind of
It's
a lot
fucking
of
stupid.
There's kind of a lot of busted classes. I mean, there's a lot of strong. A lot of the classes are really strong. It's just some of them stand out.
Yeah.
Lately, I'm starting to realize like War Dancer is pretty nuts. But we'll get into that later.
Well, there's actually I've been noticing there's actually pretty decent counters in this game.
Yeah.
So like Sork and like Bard counter like Berserker pretty well, I've noticed. However, both of those classes get like absolutely demolished by like martial arts classes, so like War Dancer, Striker, Scrapper, things like that, because they have so much movement, right? My movement is like all very burst with very, very long cooldowns, so they can kite me pretty well unless I just manage to dodge all of their shit, which is very annoying. Whereas like a War Dancer or a Scrapper, a Striker, they have so much movement in their kit. The Bard or the Sork just can't get away from them.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I've been really enjoying the PvP. I've been enjoying just kind of like learning how all the shit works, and I'm looking forward to boosting a Gun Lancer because I think Gun Lancer is secretly busted as fuck, and nobody realizes it yet.
I think everyone realizes how busted that class is.
You think? Because nobody's playing it.
I think it's a boring archetype for a lot of people. Also, it doesn't have cool animations like a lot of the other classes. Its animations are very basic.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that class is fucking insane. I fought of the like 4 Gun Lancers I fought, I've like 2 of them have just been absolutely insane, and the other 2 have no idea what they're doing. Like they were like brand new to PvP. So that tells me that that class is not very complicated to like figure out exactly what you need to do, and it's very, very powerful.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to it. Where was I? Greg says, regarding EUQ times, I don't get disconnected if I AFK, but I heard you get kicked after 20 minutes on NA. Is this true? If so, then that could be a big reason why we don't have massive queues. Or why we have massive queues, sorry.
If we do get kicked after like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. So that's interesting. You don't get kicked for being AFK on EU?
In his follow-up comment to himself, he said, yes, now we do. After maintenance, my comment became moot real quick.
He does indeed say that.
Yeah.
Good catch. Mian says, currently trying out this game, not even 50 yet, already burned out of questing. It's like BDO, going in without any knowledge. You just get so lost.
Yeah, if you can't stomach the questing, it's going to be rough. The beginning questing, like, you go for what feels like forever.
Yeah.
I mean, the questing, there's you don't really get lost. I don't understand how you get lost. Like, you just follow the main quest line, and that's it. You're fine.
I think he just means going, and I think that was a separate thought, not related to the questing itself. I think he's saying he's getting burnt out on questing, and like BDO, you without any knowledge, it's just like an overwhelming amount of stuff.
Oh yeah. I can see that. Yeah, that part I can see. There is quite a bit to do, and if you're not sure where you need to focus your efforts.
Yeah,
for sure. Bloodwolf says, so how much questing is there compared to BDO? Also, will this game be fine solo? I'm region locked, so only asking in case I get to play one day. Regarding quests, The Witcher 3, best game ever. Dislike quests, this is the only single player game I would do quests for the story. Starts slow, but once you get to the Bloody Baron story, it gets so good. The music, graphics, story flows very well. Flows well perfectly.
Mine says read more after that, but it doesn't actually show anything. Is that what yours is doing?
No, mine doesn't say read more.
I think if you reload YouTube, it'll fix
okay.
it.
That's weird.
I'd say there's about as many quests in this game as there is circles in BDO.
Honestly, to answer his question about will you be fine solo, for the most part, the only thing that forcefully requires you to have a group is the Abyssal dungeons. which are pretty worth doing just because they give you like better accessories and stuff. So
And also your legendary gear on the tier 2 and tier 1.
yeah, but you don't have to worry. You don't need the abyssal stuff until like tier 3, but down the road, it's going to hinder your progression a little bit if you're not doing it. Like, you're literally just getting worse gear. The thing is with the abyssal accessories, and maybe it's different in tier 3, is they give you the engraving stats that are like really, really geared towards your class versus just completely RNG. So at least the gold accessories do at the highest level in each tier.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can play mostly solo if you want. You don't necessarily have to play with people.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing solo basically. I've been hanging out in Discord with like my guildmates, but I haven't actually been doing anything with them because they're all pretty far ahead of me. I'm really far behind. Other than PvP, I've been doing arenas with them. That's it. Blarick says, Lost Ark main quest line starts off slow, feels like forever. Once you get to 50, game opens up, but you get overwhelmed quick. Same way any new player gets overwhelmed to BDO. Take your time, focus on one thing, find a good guide, and follow it. Game is pretty good.
Yeah. You know what's funny is when you're trying to progress and you get near that last 10 gear score from like 590 to 600 or from like 1090 to 1100, you're like actually relieved you get to go just do a quest line that's going to give you materials.
Yeah.
It's so funny how it fucks with you.
I'm
It's
just like at the beginning stages of feeling it a little bit.
You're just sitting there like at first you're like, dude, I hate quests. I don't want to go to all these islands and do these quests. And then when you run out of materials, you're like, God, I just wish I had some islands left, man. Please give me quests.
Actually, I found one island that I haven't done yet. That was that distorted island I asked you about earlier. So I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
some extra materials I didn't know I needed.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
JJ Carver says, legit haven't seen you guys this excited in a while. LOL, this game's PvP seems so dope with friends.
It is.
Yeah, have either of you made a character on the other server yet so we could do 3v3s together?
I still need to do that.
I have not. I need to do it.
You're
too.
both disappointments to
I'll
your
get with you
families.
guys later on which one we need to do that on.
There's some tournament that might be going on next week.
There's a 3v3, yeah.
Yeah, and if that ends up
A
going
tournament?
on, it's happening in East, and I'll be making a character for that. But
Oh, dude, we could do a tournament together? That'd be fun.
well, I already have a team, but yeah.
Sag.
Damn.
Already have
Wait,
a
when's
team.
the sign up?
How is there going to be a 3v3 tournament and your first thought isn't, oh yeah, we could do that for the podcast for content?
Well,
Come on, man.
I didn't know that you were still playing, to be completely honest.
Dude, that's all I do is 3v3s. That's why I've just been questing this whole time because I'm just desperately trying to get to 50 and catch up with people. I'm so far behind. Where am I? Original HD says, fun for me, started doing Guardian Dungeons and Abyss Dungeons, which were very challenging. Also looking forward to new content that will be getting in a month or so called Argos. Also looking for GVG and RVR content. And yes, ranked arenas.
Yeah, where are my ranked arenas, man?
Yeah, where are the ranked arenas, man? It really bothers me that, and fuck, man, it bothers the shit out of me that it stops at tier 1. Why does it stop? Like, if you're gonna have a level system, at least have it like go pretty far. If you're not gonna give us ranked arenas,
Yeah, or make it take a while to get there.
Yeah, you hit tier 1 in like a day, like 2 days maybe, and then it's like that's it. Everyone's on the same playing field now. It's like, no, you're not.
I can
God, I
already
hate
tell, similar to League, because you have to random queue for the ranked arenas. I am going to get so tilted, dude. I forgot, dude. I get competitive in that shit. Like, I get fucking mad at my team. It's bad.
Wait, you random queue?
Yeah,
You
so
have to random
for
queue
3v3
for ranked.
ranking, yes, you have to random queue. You can't queue up with your group. You don't have like a set
Also,
team.
I have another thing actually. I meant to ask about this and I just completely forgot. I meant to ask this last time we did the show. Why is there no just straight up 1v1 queue? That's so strange.
For just to 1v1? Yeah, I don't know. We also don't have a like Fortispective is pointing out in chat, you can create a 1v1 custom arena, and right now for ours you can only create a 6v6 custom, which is annoying. I want to like test stuff out.
What?
Yeah, so hopefully we
That's
get that.
so weird. Yeah, that's so strange. It's so weird if you want to do a 1v1, the only way to do it is by the team deathmatch elimination thing.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
In its own right,
I mean, I
though,
guess-
I do love that team deathmatch elimination.
Oh, I
That's
do
fun.
too. I've been doing that a lot more than the other two queues, but it's just strange that I can't just do 1v1s. You know, it's weird.
I like it 'cause
have you
actually
done the free for all yet? The free for all is wild.
I have not. I've not done the free for all. Is it fun?
It's crazy.
I haven't done that either.
I think that you can have fun with it. It's not. I wouldn't take it too seriously though. It's basically whoever steals the most kills wins, because all it counts is kills, and it doesn't. It's who gets last hit. So I
My class is
accidentally
perfect for that.
I accidentally queued up for it, and basically I just spent the whole time running around the edge of the arena waiting for somebody to get to 10% HP, and then I just throw damage. So, yeah,
Right.
I don't know. It's okay though. Lost Soul says they talked about adding more PvP options like 1v1. There's also GVG at open world islands. Sounds like MMO players are bad at FPS. LOL, am good at both. Get good, kids. I hope they do add more avenues for PvP. I think that they're realizing that a lot of people enjoy PvP in their game, and they're adding more.
They did say
avenues
that
for
they
it.
were gonna do some stuff to.
Yeah,
improve
that's what
on
I'm saying.
PvP.
They've acknowledged this, that they're like, we didn't originally want to do PvP, but people seem to be enjoying what little bit there is, so we're gonna try and do more stuff, and that's good to hear. Moist Meatloaf says, after Frosty's Anthem arc, no one should tell him about Warframe's space ninjas with jetpacks. As for Lost Ark, it feels like it is one thing away from possibly being my main game. WASD movement, parentheses, I can't keep track of my mouse, feels unintuitive to me coming from years of BDO and Dark Souls games, feels clunky. This would also highly depend on the implementation of it, as I don't imagine it would be hard to make badly.
Yeah, Moist Meatloaf, Warframe ain't it, man. I'm sorry. I actually, it's
have you
funny.
played Warframe?
I have for a split second, and it's funny that Moist Meatloaf says, or happens to mention Warframe just because of my rant earlier today. It's like the odds. It's just a funny coincidence. But yeah, basically, the thing that I liked about Anthem is the flight and the mobility and the open world, like, explore aspect of it. And Warframe just is not like that at all. It's so much worse feeling. Even though the game Warframe is better than Anthem, it's just that part of it. I think Anthem is it's not even close. To me, anyway.
Yeah. Coco Tasso says, I miss seeing you guys in the BDO Twitch category. My Frosty's there right now.
Yeah,
There you go.
don't miss. I mean, the last my last 3 streams, I did about 4 hours of BDO before playing
Switching
Lost
the Lost Ark.
Yeah. So you don't have to miss us.
Yeah.
Join up. We're in there. We're in there still.
Ambient says, gotta love how hyped Frosty gets when they go PvPing.
Dude, that shit was sick. It was
Frosty,
just
have you
funny.
done more PvP since then?
I have done a lot of PvP, yes.
Are you still as hype? Are you still just as hype?
Yeah, it's fun. Although I don't like it as much. I actually don't enjoy Paladin as much in PvP, which is funny because I really like Paladin in PvE. But I don't know why. It's just like doesn't feel like my style. I much more enjoy the Shadow Hunter, and I wish we had God, I wish we had the Reaper.
Yeah. What
I think you'd
what
really
class?
love Reaper.
What class are you gonna make on East?
Shadow Hunter.
You're gonna make a Shadow Hunter?
Yeah, so it's gonna be
Makes sense.
me, Sammy, and this guy Jeff. And Sammy's Gunslinger, Jeff plays Bard, which I think is actually a pretty toxic comp. Shadow Hunter, Deathblade, or sorry, Shadow Hunter, Gunslinger, Bard. But we'll see. We're not very good yet, you know.
Dude, I fucking hate bards. I hate bards so much. I'm in this elimination match versus this bard, right? This bard spends the whole match just running away from me.
Yep.
The whole match just running away from me. And I'm like, well, this is fine because like I am slowly chipping away at them. Like they have me down at like, I don't know, like 75%. I have them down to like 35%. There's like 30 seconds left on the timer or whatever. And then they use some skill that just heals them back to 100%.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Dude, Frosty, I just tapped my weapon to +15. One tap.
Oh my god, you're carried. That's the hardest one. Costs the most to do. So that being done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. Fuck
Sorry,
parts,
go
dude.
on.
I hate parts. Matthew Swore says, I'm still waiting for the game to start. Haven't unlocked most stuff, but BDO is calling me though. Can you share that doc for the island here too? Parentheses, that superior doc. I'm not even sure which doc he's talking about.
He's talking about I linked it in our chat last time. Yeah, here. I'll link it again. God, there's been so many docs since then. I linked it in the group
It's
chat.
been a lot of docs.
I linked in the group chat with Miyu and Nayashi. But so if you want to add that in the next show, there it is. But basically shows where to get the enhancement mats and pirate coins and all sorts of different stuff.
Aditya Salakava says, time to change the title of the videos now, maybe to Crystalline Aura Episode 1. No.
Oh no.
KMT Live says, hope y'all continue with the Lost Ark stuff. Hearing other new players' perspectives as a new player myself made this particularly enjoyable. The PvP portion was hilarious. Why was it hilarious? It was very serious.
Why was it hilarious?
Rezlar's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, oh, I'm actually just destroying these kids.
Kenichi Sai says, I like that the game has its own Helm's Deep battle in Festival of Mayhem. That was so cool, and I was really surprised that they took the time and effort to make it look really good. Yeah, that was the Siege. The Siege was dope.
Yeah.
I like the Siege.
Speaking of the KMT guys comment about the PvP portion, I had my first AFK teammate the other day, and I was like, God damn it, man. It was a gun lancer. He just sat there in the spawn, burning to death. And I just went into it like, well, whatever. I'm just going to try to be top damage on my team between me and the Soul Fist or whatever that was on my team. And we ended up winning 7-6.
Oh my
in
god.
the 2v3. Dude, and the thing that was so funny is they had 2 death blades, and one of them was so bad, dude. He literally was like just walking around not using skills. Like he occasionally would press a button, but he was like mostly just not using skills. It was so funny.
Yikes.
Oh, man. Jeez. Let's see. Ali Speed says TBH video should implement equalized arena system with rankings and seasonal rewards. This is why is holding back BDO with the source step class PvP balancing will become more feasible. I don't think that's gonna affect balancing that much, but they should add that. They should add arenas with gear and equalized arenas as well. That's what people have been asking for 20 years. Ali Speed also says, dude, if a person can buy a cash up item, then sell it to get in-game currency, then they can use that to buy gear. No matter how inconveniencing or expensive, it isn't important. The fact is gear is bought with real-life money, and with Rezlar on this, our claims about it taking too long are irrelevant. What's relevant is that it's an option.
Well, the problem is it's not irrelevant because the statement that was said is you could just log into BDO and buy endgame gear. So that I was just pushing back on that. I agree it's irrelevant to the is it pay to win or not, but it's not the time it takes to do it is definitely relevant if there's limitations. So it doesn't, whether you agree or not it's pay to win is completely separate from the amount of time it takes to do it. And that's all I was really pushing back on. And yeah, in both games you can just buy in-game currency and either buy gear directly or buy materials to enhance your gear. That's all.
And that's it. That's the last one. I linked that I replied to Matthew Swar's comment and linked that doc for you. All right. That's it, right? Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. I have homework for the both of you.
Okay.
Oof. I hate homework.
Both of you need to make a character and get it to the point where you can PvP on the opposing server. So Frosty, our server is Avesta. Both me and Nayashi are on Avesta. And Nayashi, you need to make a character on fuck, I hate how complicated that one is.
Inviska.
Inviska.
Inviska?
Okay.
Yes.
Can we type these in our Discord? So
Yeah.
I can. I'm gonna type it right now.
I have to find out what server that tournament is supposed to be happening on. Is that
actually that's
because I might have to do. I don't want to make 2 characters on 2 different EU or East servers. I said EU.
I might participate in that tournament too.
Frosty.
If that's the case,
I'm so burnt on questing right now, Reslark. Give me a break.
Frosty, it takes no time to get to Lutera. It takes no time whatsoever.
Let me pay to win a boost. Damn it!
It takes like 90 minutes to unlock PvP.
I don't even remember Lutera in the quest line. I skipped it in my entire synopsis.
maybe this will be a good refresher for you. Then we can ask you the storyline again.
No.
Jesus Christ. So that's both of your homeworks. And what was my homework?
Your
You gave me
homework is to fucking start get to tier 1, get all the way to Shoeshire, get your 302 gear.
Shoeshire, that's right,
Shoeshire,
that's right.
get your gear and do chaos dungeons and do guardian raids and do some enhancing. So that way you actually know what the hell
What
the
we're
game
talking
is that you're
about.
playing. Yes.
Okay.
Because next week I want to have a little conversation. We could compare and contrast BDO's pay to win and Lost Ark's no pay to win that I've been told for a long time that has 0 pay to win. And I think you'll have a better idea if you actually do some enhancing.
Okay. I got you. I'm gonna try to go through. How many G's am I away from the continent I'm on now to completing
like
Shoeshire?
actual G's, like the
100.
number of times you're gonna press it. So
Yeah,
you're still in
yeah.
Stern. So you got to do North Vern and you got to do Shoeshire. Both are shorter than Stern, but they're not short. So I would say you have somewhere between 30 and 100,000 G taps left.
Okay, so
Wide range.
I'm in Arthetine.
Yes, that's where Stern is. Yeah.
That's Stern.
Yeah,
okay.
that's Arthetine's the continent. Sorry, Stern is like the major city in there.
So you said after Arthetine, I go to Vern, which I see over here on the left.
That
North
one,
Vern and South Vern.
yes, not South Vern, but just North Vern. South Vern's actually future
Okay.
content that we don't have yet.
Okay, gotcha. And then you go
And then
north to
Shoeshire's-
Shoeshire.
Now, Arthetine, where you are, is probably, if I were to rate it at a 100 in terms of length, North Vern is probably an 80 and Shoeshire is like a 70. So they're both significantly shorter, but they're not like short
Okay.
regions. But since you're level 50, I feel like it's a little bit more palatable because it feels bad when you don't have access to everything.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good then about this because I'm already like, I don't know, I think like halfway through.
I'd say you're about
Arthetine.
5 hours from being done with all that stuff.
Because I'm looking, the way that I judge how far through a region I am is by looking at the triports on the left side, because it literally just goes in order that you unlock them as you go down this railroad track, basically. And I'm already on the middle triport area, so I must be at least like 40%, like 35-40% done, probably closer to 50 with this region. So that's not bad at all.
He hasn't got to the sneak mission yet, no.
No, oh, he's gonna love that. I want to
The
ask you.
sneak
Someone just asked me in chat, but I'm kind of curious, you guys too. Right before we leave, your class, you're maining Zerker when you're questing, right, Rez?
Yeah. I'm doing Zerker right now on Avesta. Yeah.
Are you still feeling it? Do you like it?
I am. I really wasn't at first. Like when I tested it in the testing thing for the class creation, I really wasn't. But then it felt weird having my name not on a Berserker. So I just made one just because I felt I needed to, and I've been really enjoying it, actually.
Yeah. Wait till you get to Mayhem. You 100% uptime on Mayhem is crazy.
Isn't that the one where you're permanently in rage
Glowing.
mode, but
Yep.
you have 25% HP?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you're gonna be actually a monster.
Yeah, that looks fun as fuck. I'm really excited for that.
And Nash, you're playing Shadowhunter. Are you still happy with it?
Oh, I'm having a blast. I went Demon Impulse,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my my Impulse engraving to level 3 now, and I am just wrecking through mobs. I do so much fucking damage, it's insane. And I have really good uptime on the demon form because of my specialization attribute value, as well as I got Wealth Runes set up on my 3 primary gauge generation skills. So,
Damn, dude.
yeah,
What color
the
are those
ideal.
Wealth
I have
Runes?
the ideal set up for as ideal as you can for a tier 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, at tier 3, everything gets exponentially better.
What color are your wealth runes?
I have an epic, a blue, whatever that is, and then
Yeah.
a green.
Okay.
So I have the best ones I can get at the moment.
I've still been playing Paladin, and I do absolutely love playing Paladin in PvE. Why I can't even like, I don't know. It has really cool animations. I like the way it feels in PvE, and I kind of like the way it supports while still just constantly attacking.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to in other games where it's like your support class is kind of barely doing any attacking, and a lot of times doing 0 attacking. And in this game, you're constantly attacking the whole time, and you're just like occasionally shielding in between, or it's like oddly satisfying. We have this one skill where it like puts a giant circle around you, gives you a shield, and then a bunch of damage reduction. But when you're against like the Scorpion Guardian raid as an example, and it electrocutes your teammate, and you know it's gonna hit them a second time with the tail, and then like do one more. Like if they get hit 3 times, they end up dying. But getting off that shield like just in time to save them is actually super satisfying. Yeah, like exactly, Leary. Like BDO Witch Wizard, you still do damage. Although you don't do, it's less damage than that.
It's really not, though.
It's less damage than that on Paladin, but it's in PvP it's a lot, but in PvE it's not. You're doing significantly less damage than the DPS people, but you're still
PvP,
like constantly attacking.
You guys legit have a delete button.
Yeah, our
pretty insane.
Our holy sword hits. That shit smacks in PvP. Anyway, that's all. All right, Rez, you want to close this out?
Yeah. Thanks everybody so much for listening / watching, I suppose. Thanks for Choice for the surprise drop in and kind of be able to hang out with him for a bit. It's always good to kind of get his thoughts on things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I spelled Invisca wrong.
Yeah,
That's embarrassing.
It's all right.
I was going to be looking for that forever.
He's like, fuck, the server's not on here.
Yeah, you would have been able to figure it out. I guess we will, if you want to check out Choice, I'm going to link him in the description, since he was nice enough to drop by and talk to us about stuff for a while. You can also find links to all of our Twitches in the description. Twitch.tv/SoFrosty for Frosty streaming almost every day. A little bit of video, a little bit of Lost Ark lately. Twitch.tv/NotReslar for myself, and Twitch.tv/Nashi_NA for Nyashi. Thank you again to the patrons and all the Twitch subscribers, and we'll see y'all next week.